Good day for footy, as Dennis said, overcast, no real breeze, maybe the shower coming at the end. There's Karsha, the sub. Norwood Footy Club last year, premiership under Nathan Bassett. They were unbeatable last year, the Redlegs. Have lost a couple this season, lost to North Adelaide on the weekend. And for Melbourne, well, Dennis had the numbers of how many goals in the last 5 quarters. Nearly half of them were, we know, against GWS, but they certainly ticked it over early against Brisbane last week. And that's one of the things you'd like to see today. So umpire appreciation week, and Mark Nield with his young captain, and then, well, mentor of Mark in some ways, Michael Malthouse, with his young captain as well. Saw Mickey when I was coming in today, Andrew McKay and the net with him. So it was good to catch up with him for a moment.
Does he remember the media fondly, Bruce? Did you ask him? Missing us?
He was in good spirits. But no, I didn't ask him that exact question.
Maybe that's why he's in good spirits. It's changed.
So Murphy wins the toss. I was going to ask him whether Mark Nield was in the back seat of the car, but I thought I wouldn't do that because they are pretty good mates, I still think, don't you?
Yeah.
I mean, he's been a good supporter of Mark Nield. So Murphy wins the toss and kicks to the left. So, yeah, tough time. I mean, we saw it in the opener, just Michael thinking that Mark Nield's been through a tougher time than any other coach he can remember. And have a look at these average gains. I mean, Carlton at around about 100. This is the most inexperienced team we've seen under Mark Nield. So there's Mickey's team, 97. Melbourne have got 6 players today that haven't played 10 games. They've got 13 players that haven't played 50, and they average out at under 50. So, look, it's babes to the wood. Liked your joke, actually, Tim, with the little fella running out, but no, he's not out there right now.
The thing about that also is the 6 changes and the lack of continuity with the playing group, because one of the things that you want to be able to do is get used to playing alongside somebody, so you pick up the nuances of the way they play. There's a greater understanding that develops over that period of time. When you're making this many changes week in, week out, you just can't get that continuity and you don't get that confidence.
And Dennis, Michael Malthouse has made a statement or two as well with his selections over the last 6 weeks. I mean, there's no Laidler, there's no Dygan. He's been able to get weight back, we know that, but he's put his stamp on things, hasn't he?
He's still searching, yes. Coming to terms with this team week by week. A couple of players have been favoured by the new coach turning up. I think one of them is White. Been given every chance to develop perhaps into a modern day Tuvey, if you like. Mick's got firm ideas about the mix. He's working towards something at Carlton, and of course, winnable games the next couple. As we said earlier, could be right back in the mix by 6 o'clock tonight. Opening bounce on a Sunday afternoon under cloudy skies. Knocked down by Warnock. Judd is in there, so he started inside the centre square. Armfield was slung. Nathan Jones is taken high, and he'll get the free kick just wide of the centre circles.
Looks like Ellard will go to him this afternoon, Dennis, in the absence of Karato.
Through all this, Jones has been terrific for them. Sends a high ball. This hangs a long time in the air. Gawn, we touched on him before. He touched the footy and almost dragged it in for a mark. That was a terrific leap. He was out of position, but the leap and his momentum almost meant that he took the mark. And now a free kick out of the pack is going to Grimes. Man on the mark is about 45 metres out. Grimes could almost get the trip. He'd be tempted to go for it. This would be a kick start. Who better than one of the co-captains? Stuttering approach, kicks from 52, hasn't got it. He misses the dartboard. He missed everything.
He'll be disappointed with that. Struggled for distance, and certainly the accuracy nowhere near it. Looks like Bale's got Murphy, I think, Tim. So probably no real surprise there. You talked about Ellard having a role as well on Jones. So Scotland, who missed the first couple under a club suspension this year, but won the best and fairest last year, and has been racking up the numbers, Scotland.
That's why I think Jones, Dennis touched on it too before about how impressive he's been in the early part of this season. He really is the bloke that's worn the tag week in, week out, yet his performances haven't really been lowered on any occasion. Like, he's been brave in the way that he's attacked his footy.
Rains kept him reasonably under control last week, didn't he? But you're right, he's had a really good year. Grimes got the ball forward again. So Melbourne in the forward 50 again. I mean, they're a remote chance of winning, we know that, but their one chance you'd think would be to get a grab early. Got to stay with Carlton. Interesting Lingy's comments about just how ruthless can the Blues be today. So Curno's quick kick out.
Awkward bouncing football. Waite missed it. Bit rusty. Yaron arrived quickly. Spencer, nicely done to Nicholson. Both back in the team this afternoon. Nicholson down towards half forward. Tui slapped it down. Trengove right on the 50, vacant square. This will run on. No. Well done by Henderson. Sung his praises a few minutes ago. He's having a good year, and that's a beautiful kick. Will it stay in for Lucas? Now confronted by Strauss. Strauss, well, couldn't bring him down. As a result, Armfield got the ball. Murphy across the body, bounces it up towards the wing. Weight went down, and now the numbers with Melbourne. Sylvia comes back to Jones.
So now the D's to try and set up Nicholson. Good kick. They got it out wide. And then Garland just handing it on to 42 of their very best players in that back half or anywhere. Grimes busy early. He hasn't kicked it great so far. That one not all that good for Sylvia. So Tui's got the job on Sylvia. Yaron did well, very well. He's exciting, isn't he? Geez, quick. A couple of bounces, looked up, now he's kicked the ball to nobody really. Waite was on a lead. Dunn getting back.
Advantage.
And you heard the umpire. So Dunn, who had a horrible Milestone game. We looked at Miles, not him personally so much, but I guess the result was just so awful. McLean, short to Judd. Well, he's at high half forward right now, Den.
Yep. Lost his marker momentarily. That's not a good kick, though. Melbourne could be released here, although there's a fumble on the outer side. That wasn't good. Jones is under there trying to redeem the situation. In fact, both Joneses are there now. It was Matt initially, and the umpire will ball it up. Gee, had he marked that, he could have run up short of the wing and really launched an attack. As it was, I think he expected somebody to contest. Don't expect the opposing champ just to kick it directly to you. And there he is again. Judd put down this time. Burns hand passes along the boundary line. Simpson keeps it in, concedes some ground. Back to Scotland. Scotland right on the wing, pinpoints it to White. Bit of a fumble, runs around. Jamison forward of left centre wing.
Kick off to half forward, asked a bit of weight again. McDonald, and a boundary throw in.
That's a tough kick to hit, isn't it? That hard leading.
It's against Jared James Strauss. Easy.
So
Waite just trying to get himself involved in the game.
So Strauss' first game for the year. He's played intermittently over the last 4 or 5 years. He hasn't been able to string too many together. Lots of injuries. Not a bad kick. Gorn got pushed out.
That's gone. Advantage.
So Tapscott's got it. Well, this is a massive advantage. They should be able to get the first goal. Bale does it simple. He's looking to give off. And then he handballs to the Irishman. That's an Irish joke, surely. So here comes Tui. Oh, that didn't look good. He did bail out, didn't he? As we get to centre wing, that's enough from me. Here's a race. Well done, Turlick. I mean, she would have backed Jaron to beat just about most people in that situation. Nicholson caught up and breaks a couple of tackles. Well, Melbourne had a wonderful chance a moment ago. Sylvia, Tui, still Sylvia. The Irishman's doing all right. He's got him down. And the Blues get a turnover.
Bale played him into form. What was Bale thinking? Did a shimmy as though he was going to hand pass, but even the Irishman who was chasing him could see there was nobody there. What do you think?
It was all Gaelic to me.
Murphy, short one on the lead. McLean. Now that is a long memory. He goes back.
It's been untidy start, hasn't it?
White's got it now. Walker has to wait. Viney is closing, and Viney opted to stay off him. Now Simpson. Nothing up ahead.
No, Warnock just has to move. I mean, he looked up and there was no one in that space. It was he that had to actually run up and occupy that space on the wing.
Well, Trengove has been there for about 45 seconds. He's drifting back, Trengove. Well, he should have marked that as it turned out. Dunn takes it across the line.
It's been a strange start, hasn't it? It really has. I mean, lots of funny things going on.
The ball has been ping-ponging off half-back line, and both sides have looked really untidy, had trouble bringing the ball out with any cleanliness.
So targets are being missed left, right and centre, and we had a calamity at the Melbourne inside 50 a moment ago. So Simpson can't quite get the kick away. Nicholson down low. Max Gawn gets it a little bit forward. Trengove did pretty well there. And then Viney gang tackled, and it'll be a boundary throw. Strong boy, isn't he? I mean, it took a couple to try and get him down. So,
Boys, this is just silly by Jared Waite, and there could be a little bit in that. He's already missed so much footy. Why would you do something so silly in your first game back?
good point. Frustrated already, eh? You think you'd be so excited, you'd forget all those things. So Sylvia from Viney, and now can it open up? Well, Sylvia, that's a lazy kick, and then Jamison to Walker, and now, Dennis, something might happen.
Lucas is away, has a bounce. Armfield is sprinting for him. The two West Australians combine. Armfield in front of the Great Southern Stand goes looking for Hampson. Spilt the mark though. Chance for Frawley. Quick hands got it away. Matt White over the top. McDonald on the overlap. Back come Melbourne. This is Burns. Breaking for him is Tapscott. Could have almost been hands in the back. Well, I suppose people in Adelaide are scratching their head now. Scotland, White on the defensive 50. Gee, I wouldn't mind playing this game. It's wide open. Get a kick out there, Bruce. There goes Walker. It starts to tighten up about here. Up in front. Nicholson couldn't complete the mark. Arm bar. That's almost a submission hold. Waite did well. Very well. Garlett with the outside of the boot. Puts it through. That was terrific stuff by Waite. And I think Cam's on the money, as he normally is, about that incident. There was a little bit with the head that, if it made contact, would be seriously looked at, I would think. That is crazy. First go at the ball and you do something like that. So at least he redeemed himself in that exchange, manufacturing the goal, lying on the ground. He was in trouble. Guy had his arm, took him down, but got it to Garlett.
There's the first contest, Garlett involved, and here's the smart release by Waite. But just watch the way that Garlett gets goal side. That is just ball watching again. When you're playing on a really dangerous player like Garlett, you just got to make sure you body him and keep your body on the goal side.
It's a great finish by Garlett. Good stuff by Waite. So Grimes, a lot of the ball early. She's getting down low.
Knees, Melbourne.
Gee, that's interesting. I mean, I'm still not used to that decision, but Robinson to get down low and they protect the legs of the opponent. Garland switching to Dunn. He's a long kick Dunn, but he couldn't get wound up. So that left foot had a bit on it too to fall forward. Howe worked underneath. Jamison's having a fine year. That's going to be, I reckon, one of the highlights of the day. Walker's kick out wide. Opportunity for Strauss. Neat kick, well played, and gets to that man Howe. Well, he kicked a remarkable goal last week. I think he's 8 goals won from set shots this year. Let's have a look. He doesn't miss. He's 8-1 from set shots, and he kicked 1 goal last week. He and Watts were just remarkable at the Gabba from this spot, in this pocket. And we're going to be listening to him at half-time and looking at some of those screamers. He tells us how he does it. Well, I think he's still trying to work it out, but he will tell us, have a look at that. Not quite. Gee, it was a fair dob. He's an exciting player. Tim Jamison's, I think, right back to his best form this season, so that's a really good duel, isn't it?
He's back to his confident best, isn't he? And that's a really important component of being a defender, actually backing yourself. And it looks like maybe, you know, what Mick has brought to this Carlton lineup has actually helped him as well.
Beautiful kick coming out from Walker. Curnow just gives it across to Scotland. And the run of Garlett is on the wing at the interchange gates to Henderson. Henderson can go deep here to Lucas. Will the kick favour him? Strauss in trouble. Lucas has taken the mark. That is end-to-end stuff. Started with a longer than expected kick from Walker, just kicked over the coverage. And that's a good kick from Henderson.
That's great ball movement, isn't it?
Yep. Strauss standing the mark. Terrific story. Broke his leg against Carlton. I think we were here that day. Grotesque. Round 20, 2011. Fought his way back. Could do nothing that time. Lucas misses to the near side.
Yeah, no, it's been tough for Strauss.
Eddie, it's been close, mate. Just come back. Yeah, blue dot.
Just the run-up, the huddle there, the run-up of Lucas set up for the hook there, and that's what happened. McDonald to Frawley. All-Australian a few years back, Frawley. Still not very old. Scotland got rid of Tringove.
Wait there, Shannon. That's your mark.
Must be strange for Mick. I mean, Scotland played 2 finals, grand finals, actually, under Malthouse at Collingwood, and then released, went to Carlton. Back being coached by Mickey. Their first conversation would have been interesting, I reckon. Here's Yaron. That ball floating beautifully, and Bet. So they're all involved, the amigos.
Silly boys.
Actually, both the Melbourne defenders there just completely misjudged that ball in flight.
That's your line, Eddie.
Not saying there's any animosity between Scotland and Mick, but yeah, that one, sorry.
Well, you got the feeling there was, but
Yeah.
they say no.
Yep, and here I am back again, Heath, and you can't play the first 2 weeks, but you'll be right after that. I'll make sure that he's a good player. And Betts and Garland have got the opening goals of the match.
Well, Mick was asked the question early in the year whether or not he could play these 3 players in the forward line. He said, oh, my word, you can, with a big smile on his face, because he knows that he's actually coached against them and how dangerous they are, how difficult a matchup they are. And already they've been involved in this game. Betts just finishing that work off from Yaron, who just read the ball so much better than the 2 Melbourne defenders, who went hard at the ball and it floated over the top.
Blues lead it by 12. Midway through this opening term.
At the footy.
Problems already. I'm sure they identified the problems as early as last weekend, but stopping those 3 little guys is something else again. Coming through is Scotland. Whitey was involved earlier. Jones in trouble. Coughed it up. Ellard's hand pass not that effective. Garlett trying to paddle it through. That's an interesting exercise. In front, McKenzie. Garlett stayed with it. Nathan Jones does nicely. Grimes took too long. Could have been pushed to the back. No, free. Scotland's over the football. Trying to get it out was Garlett. McKenzie. Jones. It's Nathan to Matt. Nicholson. Well, he split the difference and almost found the Carlton man. Curnow, Armfield. Gives it back to Murphy. Murphy swings it out wide. Curnow, good spread. Got across there quickly. Kicks inside the forward 50. White takes the mark.
And Dennis Grimes is in real trouble here with his shoulder too. Got buried with that last tackle. He's going straight down into the medical room downstairs, so he'll be treated, but that looked nasty.
Here's a real meekness.
Here it is again.
Yep.
Here's the tackle. Bang into the turf. And that's McLean just sort of driving him unintentionally, but those accidents happen from time to time. And
in fact, watching that, McLean tried to do the right thing almost, didn't he?
He tried to actually spin him.
Yeah, he did.
And then some good footy from the Blues. The spread, as Dennis said, was terrific. And Betts set up. And gee, that's a good kick. Well, it's going to be a theme of the day, Tim, and we'll talk about it a little bit later, because we might end up asking the people at home what they think. But just the 3 up forward, because it does give you something. I mean, does it hold up in September? Who knows? They're not there yet, but it gives you something that no one else has got. And now, and you know, Yaron can play back, we know, but when you've got the 3, I think Waite's the other key. If Waite's there,
they need a target.
Got the 3,
yeah, they need a target. They need to get out. They need to have a game plan B.
So what do you think, Tim? Should Yaron play forward or back?
I think he should play forward, but don't be surprised if he goes back at different stages of the season too. The other thing about Garlett is he actually works so hard defensively, as we just saw a moment ago. Let's
know what you think. Can they play the 3 up forward?
Warnock out of the middle, kicks inside the forward 50. Murphy tried to control it. Garland. The ball still jamming in there. Eventually comes wide in the opposite direction. Bale. He got it from McKenzie. Tried to carry it through. Now Walker. Oh, that's a very good mark. That is top shelf.
Gee, they've just started to really put some pressure on Melbourne around the ball, haven't they, in the last 5 minutes?
9 times out of 10, that ball comes out. But he hung on. Underscoring just how important he is. Should kick this. And if he does, Melbourne in desperate trouble. Puts it through. So suddenly the margin is 24 points.
Hey, Lingy, I'll get you in a minute, but I reckon he's, after the silly start, he's settled pretty well. I mean, he's been a real target, and that was a great mark, and he passed one off to Betts a moment ago, and suddenly their structure with him in the forward 50 just looks right, doesn't it? I mean, it makes a big difference. How pleasing is it that Garlett's got 1, Betts, who's been injured, has got 2, and Waite's got 1 and been involved. I mean, this is now the dream start. Lingy, this has been a good reply from Waite after a bit of a silly start.
Yeah, a bit of a silly incident early on, but he's presented up well. You can see he's just keen to be out there. He's running around, really leading up hard at the ball. Being a strong contest, you boys touched on it. He's the key. Those three small guys can create havoc, but they need a target, and they need that target to be a good quality player who draws good defenders to him, so the small guys can feed off him.
They've looked quick, Carlton, haven't they? They really have. So Viney out of the centre. Melbourne inside that forward 50. They've been there a few times. They've had one wonderful opportunity to score a goal, and Grimes missed one completely earlier than that. Well done by Evans, getting the ball forward. He started well against Brisbane and had a good last quarter against GWS. Murphy, great hip and shoulder from Tapscott. He just got rid of him in a hurry. Sylvia back to Evans, smother from Murphy. And then McKenzie down low. That ball hasn't quite got out. So what does the ump now? It's in the hands of Howe and a couple of others and a ball up.
Just looking at the stats in the early part of this game, 23 marks to 5 Carlton's way at this stage. So their movement of the ball has been really impressive and decisive already.
Blues by 24 then. Ruckman fight a draw. Jones taken high. He'll get the free kick.
She works hard, doesn't he?
I'll say, just got up from the base of that last pack, and here he is again.
Already leading their stats count. This is his 6th possession, and he's been tagged by Ellard. But what he does as a midfielder when he's tagged, he actually takes the midfielder, the opposition midfielder, into the really congested part of the ground. So he works really hard inside. He's got a really good balanced game, Nathan Jones.
Famous number at Melbourne. Runs to the 50. Kick is on the way. He's allowed too much. It's swinging violently to the opposite pocket. Warnock puts the hands up and the ball spills out of bounds.
Boys, you mentioned Jack Grimes going off the ground with injury. Well, it must be bad because he's been subbed out of the game already. Dean Kent's the man who's going to be subbed back on. Big blow for Melbourne, losing one of the co-captains.
This is a tackle again.
So early in the match too, with the rotations, now the pressure on them.
It was just one of those classic driving tackles, wasn't it? And the shoulder goes into the turf, and then the body comes over the top even further, just impacting on that shoulder.
So no luck for the D. Spencer, it's a good hit out actually. Gave Sylvia some room. He could have handballed. Didn't. Well done, Simpson. And then in hard was Tuvey. And then Sylvia getting his crack and getting her behind.
Jack Grimes actually had an incident during the pre-season at training where he hurt his shoulder a bit and missed a couple of weeks of training. So got to keep the fingers crossed that it's not a reoccurrence of that, and he's done some damage.
Gee, Walker's done it again under the chest of Hampson. Quite enjoyed that. Kick up towards the wing. McLean, that's a good grab too. Clean. Last time they went the length of the ground, kicked it behind. Can they do better here? Betts! Oh, couldn't hang on. Turlick slips a hand pass away. McDonald in desperate trouble. Worried out of it by speed. Yaron gives it across to McLean. Not the same problem there. He's taken down strongly. We'll have a ball up just inside the 50. So the three amigos, well, at least two of them. All that was missing was the singing bush.
There's that tackle again, the driving of the shoulder into the ground. That's why Grimes is no longer part of the game this afternoon. But Frawley just rolled with that tackle, and that was the perfect execution.
Turlick after Judd's handball. Nicholson onto the left, so squeezed it out. White's in a good spot, takes the mark. Quickly to Henderson. Now Henderson's kicked the ball beautifully today so far, and that's another good kick out wide to Waite.
Play on, play on, play on.
Called to play on now. There's no urgency for the minute, and then decides to handball to Lucas. Lucas backtracking. Finds Simpson. Now he's got White on his own in the heart of the centre square, and he'll get him. So White now, does he switch or does he come all the way out here to Robinson? He does. So they've gone from one side of the MCG to the other. Robinson wanted to turn and sidestep his man, but couldn't get past. So that was Kent on the ground. Front spot was Hampson. Just not holding many at the moment. Dunn, Viney. Still Viney down low. Betts almost. Viney and Betts fighting after the footy. And I think that'll be a ball up.
Do they make it hard for you, don't they, those Carlton small forwards, to get out of there and get moving and rebounding, and that pressure that they're applying is leading to turnovers further up the field again, so Carlton get a second hit at it.
Dunn quickly towards the boundary. Boundary throw in. Two-edged sword with those little guys because they've got the speed to really put good pressure on, and they're doing that at the moment. When they've got the appetite, they're up and about. They can kick goals and they can run down defenders. Gawn slaps it wide of the congestion. McKenzie was there. Hacked out of midair by Robinson. On the wing, it's Bale. Just lays it off. Nicely done. Viney creates his own space. Now kicks it down towards half forward, but the only man inside the defensive 50 still is Simpson. Now Howe comes at him. Jamison coming back to
free kick. It's your kick.
Jamison.
It's a downfield free kick.
It's not going back at all. It was Simpson who was put down after he'd sent the ball Jamison's way.
And Jamison down the line. Good long kick. Hampson front spot. Jones in courageously, then Dunn. Just long, chaotic sort of ball, which gives his forwards a 50-50 chance, which at the moment's about as good as Melbourne can hope for. And Jamison rolls it over. Boundary throw in.
If Hampson could just clunk a few of those marks. That's why he got the Bronx cheer early, because he actually marked one. But he gets his hands on so many balls, but he just can't secure them.
Taps the ball down, but straight to McKenzie. I see where Cruz is not far off either. Tim, he's thinking about next Monday night against St Kilda with the thumb. So that's another conundrum for Mick Malthouse. Is the Warnock, Cruz, Hampson situation, isn't there? There's the tractor there having a look on Cruiser. So
back row of talent there, isn't it?
Yep.
Carazzo, Gibbs, Cruiser.
Well, it's promising right now. Suddenly everything's looking a little less blue than it did 3 weeks ago. That one win in Perth made such a difference to this team, didn't it?
Yep.
The boundary throw in.
Against the head, as they say in rugby.
I was reading an article about Megan Gale this morning. She was talking about her boyfriend, Sean Hampson, too. Said that he gets like a rock star reception wherever he goes.
Boundary throw in.
Play on.
Is that right? Could have fooled me. Here's Murphy. Lucas follows up and gives it again. This time Simpson down towards half forward. Well, good luck to him. Off hands. Here's Betts. Didn't need much luck. Draw the shades. Garlett, open goal, kicks it. Give Strauss his due. He did chase him.
Gee, what about the little gift from Betts? It was so quick, wasn't it? And then Garlett was even quicker than that. I was just thinking about the research that Tim was doing earlier about obviously those people that give Hampson a huge reception aren't here today because he's getting a boo every time he goes near the footy. But anyway, they probably haven't seen him try to take a mark.
Well,
but he's a good player. He's a good player. Anyway,
Megan could just be reading it wrongly. Their cheers.
Well, Lingy, this is exactly what you were talking about pre-game.
Yeah, absolutely. Melbourne just need to have a defender staying behind that contest, the anchor-type defender. They can't be letting the Carlton small forwards get out the back like that. It's just going to be a goal fest if that happens. They've got to fix it up.
Yep, that goalkeeper-type person, that quarterback. So Viney belting the ball forward. That one rolling away. Kenty's just come on. Went whack. Now, Kent, there's a question without notice. Is he...
Don't go high.
He's from a place called Clackline near Western Australia, 80 k's from Perth. Do you know him?
Do I know him or know the place?
Know the place.
Perth's not that small, Bruce. I thought that was an insulting question. Yeah, I do. Clackline us up towards Geraldton way, I think.
Is it like a country town, is it?
Barely that. One horse down, I reckon. Hello to everybody in Clackline. Right of the pack, a chance for Melbourne to drive it forward then. Ball spills across from the boot of the youngster playing his first game. The man we were talking about, Kent, almost a famous name. He's close.
Well, he bounced up quickly.
Kent.
Then his Christian name's not Clark, is it?
Well, he came from a small town too, didn't he?
Yeah,
Clark Kent.
Yeah.
Scramble, and this ball will be thrown up just outside the 50. But we digress. We often do that on Sunday afternoons. We've got a lockdown on this game. Carlton certainly putting the acid on Melbourne at the moment. Judd across to Ellard. Under pressure, Ellard from the boundary. Kicks close to the line. Knocked across by McDonald, who's a resolute defender. Nothing fancy, but he gets the job done.
He's got his hands full today. Weight's made a difference. 4 goals from Betts
Watch out, Carlton.
and Garlett between them. And 1 to Waite. So
No. Play on.
Hampson, I wonder if Dunn was really clever there and made out to give it to the wrong bloke.
Marking interference. Marking interference.
So Garland That'll be a good match, Tim. Garland very much in form against Wade.
He's an outstanding defender,
Yeah, he's
Garland.
good. He's good. It's a smooth mover. Speaking of good defenders, Jamison gets his hands on it. And Robinson back to Jamison. Ellard was wanting Murphy to run on, but he was checked, and then a poor kick and cut off by Frawley.
He picks the right angle, Frawley. He's a really good defender. He actually seized upon that one, sized it up really early, cut the angle, and then was able to intercept.
You think with Frawley, McDonald and Garland, there is a backbone to work on down back, isn't there?
Yep.
Here's McDonald. Sorry, Timmy.
No, it's okay.
Kicks it up towards the wing. Nicholson leads back in the race. Hasn't got the football, surely. Oh, wow. Ball goes out of bounds.
He needed to have a quick look behind him then to check out who he was going to try and outrun. Then he doesn't gain possession of the ball. I mean, that is a free kick.
I think so.
Arms up. Let him run.
I reckon those little guys are sneaky too. They hold their breath as they're closing. You can't hear them breathing. They're breathing through their eyelids. Tossed in front, knocked down by Hampson. Now there's holding off the pack, and Mark Murphy will get the free kick. Mark Murphy then just forward of half-back, lobs it over the man on the mark and finds Ellard.
So Ellard in the team today. First time this season. Good to have him back. And back in the hands of his skipper. And McLean was a bit of a lazy kick, but Carlton have done well. It was a funny first 5-10 minutes. Big injury to Grimes, so Melbourne a man down already. But the Blues got rolling, Waite got involved, and so did Garlett and Betts and Yaron. Jones fighting hard, but Melbourne facing an uphill battle already. It's 31-3 on Sunday footy at the MCG.
31 plays 3. Second term, Melbourne need to get a hurry along. Spencer and Warnock. Warnock brilliantly done. Changed hands in mid-air. Knocked it down. Betts sliding in. Tackled immediately. Spencer lying on top of that pack. That'll hurt. And the umpire will do it again.
Thanks, Cole.
Kent already in the game. Over the top, Warnock. Again, Jones trying to rampage his way out of there. Taken down, penalised.
Then just dropped it.
Well,
Carlton.
that was the right decision, but tough. Now Chris Judd comes out wide. McLean, nobody near him, looks inside the forward 50. That's a beautiful kick. Robinson couldn't hang on. Strauss was there, enough to worry his opponent out of it. Now, Turlock has tackled, but the umpire has called for it before any damage was done.
So the Blues inside their forward 50 in a hurry. Mark Newell's interesting with Erlingy, the positiveness of him. You're seeing the good side.
He talked about those defenders, those small defenders on the 3 small forwards for Carlton. I just watched them then. Each of them bodied their direct opponent. So that was a good start to the second quarter.
McLean wraps a tackle on and another ball up.
And that's what they have to do. They actually have to make that body contact so that they can stop the play.
It's Jack Grimes. So this is these are live pictures. So he's on his way to the hospital. So that's a big blow for a team that's struggling in for a young player who's been in pretty good form. As Tim said, he was one of the few that have been averaging over the 20 a match.
That's a pretty serious shoulder injury too if you're heading off to hospital.
Just spoke to Doc Larkins, who's watching from home. He's not here at the ground, but he said looked very much like an AC or a clavicle break, a collarbone break. So that's very serious for him.
Thank you to the doc for that.
We'll get billed for that, don't we?
Well, I tell you what, he's on the money. He rarely misses, doesn't he? And he's spot on. So Bale's little kick forward. Simpson, running in hard to Gawn. But he stood up pretty well, Simpson. And that ball, who's got it?
Max, you dived on it. Max, you got to mark it clear.
Well, there's the answer. So
I thought he was Gawn then too.
So Henderson to Scotland. Good kick, Scotland.
McLean bobbing up again, lays it off to Walker. Where's the movement? Hampson, well, he's a long way from him. He tries to give it to Hampson, though. Well, it cleared he and Frawley as it turned out. It runs free at the back. McDonald used his body nicely. He's taken high and he'll get the free kick.
Let him go. Thank you. Move away,
Tom
guys.
McDonald.
Right out. Play on. Yours.
Drives it outside the defensive 50. If nothing else, this Melbourne defence is fast-tracked. Tapscott does nicely. Terrible kick, though. Bounces it beyond the wing. Left behind by Gawn, picked up by Viney, tries to fend off an opponent, gets to his feet very quickly. Down goes Curnow, ball rolls out, but the whistle just beat the ball coming clear. So that's not a good thing for Melbourne or for that young man who really is having a fine season. Leadership thrust on him early. He's tried to do the right thing, put his body on the line continually. And this afternoon, in what seemed one of those things you see so often in footy, he's paid a very hefty price, it seems. If the doc is right, and he generally is. Walker, 55 metres out. That's a very clever kick. Betts was the target. Long arm came from Garland, and just as well. Burns ran into a dead end.
And Scotland was that dead end, and then Mac Jones held up. And it will be a ball up. Carlton have won the last 6 clearances, Tim, and they're in a position now maybe to make it 7 and put themselves in a scoring position. So that's something the D's have got to fix up.
Hillard there on screen. He's had the job on Nathan Jones up to 7 possessions, so he's off to a bright start too.
So another one there. So good tap by Warnock to McLean to Waite. Tried to handball to Judd, couldn't quite. Strauss to Jones. Back he goes to Turlick, and then Turlick plays with a lot of composure. He's a mature age recruit. Gave it across to Nicholson, and now Melbourne on the run.
Better.
McDonald, good kick, good stretch from Gawn to Evans, and then Evans looks up and found his, yes, a mark to Sylvia. Well played, Melbourne.
That was really good. They came down through the central part of the ground. They actually lowered their eyes at the right time, kicked the ball to the space, the right side of their teammates, and now they're in a really good spot to actually kick a goal.
So we've got the monitor, the GPS on Colin Sylvia today, one of 3 Melbourne players we're looking at. And we might get Lingy to look at the numbers as the day goes on. But a lot talked about his work rate over the years, you know, so it'll be interesting to see Sylvia today. He's a talent. He was taken number 3 in the draft, and he's probably paid for that a bit because of that high draft pick. But he's been inconsistent, but when he's good, he's very good. And that's a lovely kick and a good finish. So Melbourne get their first goal.
And that is the most positive passage of play they've put together so far in this game. It came off half-back. They pretty much didn't go outside the corridor in their ball movement. And then they hit those right targets. And that's not something they were able to do in the first quarter. They really butchered the ball badly. And you've got players leading to the ball doesn't hit them. It goes over their head. All of a sudden, what was an attacking move becomes a defensive move. And then they've got to find their direct opponents again. That's a really good kick. He just lowered his eyes. He showed a lot of poise, a lot of composure, and Sylvia just managed to cradle it.
First goal coming after 34 minutes of game time. Mark Neild and Melbourne supporters happy to get that first goal. That rids them of another potential headline. Opportunity for Murphy. Still over the football in his hip pocket. McKenzie. The ball's not coming out.
Locked up. Let him go. Ball's locked up. Thank you. 1 metre rucks. Don't block him.
Spencer does exactly that. The umpire said not to block him, but he was intent on doing that. Wide of the pack. Here's a chance now. Viney goes down towards half forward. Not his best kick. Got under that. Oh, taken high. There must be a free kick. Heard the umpire giving advice there, but it's a free kick to Melbourne. It'll be taken by Tapscott. He's a tough hombre and needed to be there. Doubting the tackle, and that's a good kick. Got up, shook off the cobwebs and hit a man on the chest. The other co-captain, who's been very quiet so far, Jack Trengove. This is only his 2nd kick upcoming, provided he decides to kick it.
So that was a brilliant kick, Dennis. We were right behind that kick. It went like a dart. It went exactly where he wanted it to go. And now he needs to finish. Not an easy angle,
No.
but well within his kicking distance.
Right footer, so he should be able to work it a little right to left. Well, he's gone too early on that one, and he misses. Jack just struggling under the weight of things at the moment, but a talented youngster, no question about that.
Gee, goal there would have made a difference to him. That was a Corey Enright kick, wasn't it? But so Melbourne, a couple of forward forays and a goal in the behind. Telling kick again. Armfield should have got a free kick, didn't. Scotland's handball over the top. McLean on the end of it. Now looking and looking to well. McLean gets it across to Simpson, who's a left footer, so he goes inboard to Hillard running hard. Warnock going, or Hampson going back towards the goal square in a good spot. Well done, Garland. He drifted across.
And Frawley. They both played that well, didn't they?
Well, I mean, we talked about them, and McDonald to throw in. I mean, two very good defenders and an emerging defender. And speaking of emerging, McDonald, well, he emerged poorly as he finds Robinson. Back to Murphy. Murphy could kick a goal here. He's 50 metres out. He's struck it beautifully and hammered it home. That's a captain's goal. Michael Malthouse sort of, am I saying, was he forced to defend Mark Murphy? I mean, there was been talks about Murphy.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah,
the last fortnight he
yeah,
was.
yeah.
Murphy spoke really glowingly about Mick's influence this morning in an article in one of the local papers.
Murphy's been going okay, hasn't he?
Oh, no, he's been going well.
Yeah.
He's been going well. He's only a couple of possessions down on what he was last season, but he spoke about Mick's first time that he addressed the players and what an impression he left everybody.
Stayed awake, didn't fall asleep.
Here's the turnover, and those kicks really do cruel you. They're the ones coming off half-back. You're in attack, all of a sudden you're back trying to defend, and then loose players everywhere. Murphy, who's been tagged by McKenzie, just finding that extra space.
That kick coming out, I mean, he tried to be too perfect. There was plenty of room, a big margin of error if you'd gone longer. Tried to be too precise as Murphy kicks it inside the forward 50 again. Oh, bit of a fumble there from the rock star. Hand passes towards the goal square. Chopped off, though, by McDonald. Out against the boundary line. Turlick. No.
There you go again.
Onto the chest of Ed Curnow. He'll kick from about 40 metres out.
And Lingy, they're just basic skill errors, aren't they?
Yeah, they're the ones that really hurt Melbourne so badly. They do a lot of good work, a lot of hard work down there, and then just turn the ball over. It's just simple skill errors. They've got to get that out of their game as soon as they can.
So Curnow, generally, this kick has been going right to left by some distance this afternoon, and this one the same.
And you compare that, Tim, just to the way Carlton brought the ball out of that centre bounce. Then Chris Judd, just one touch, really quick hands to Mark Murphy. Murphy was able to kick it to the Carlton forwards' advantage. Just so much cleaner and so much more precise with their skills. Melbourne have got a long way and a lot of improvement to get to that stage.
Frawley run down by Hampson. That was good stuff. And then Robinson back to Hampson, back to Frawley this time, and then Evans having to keep it in. White cut across, good mark. He was the ball magnet in the opening term with his 9 disposals. Dennis has talked about the fact that he's been preferred to a couple of blokes, Dygan and also Laidler, that might have been in front of them when you looked at the media guide at the start of the year. But he's there. Now Scotland inboard. Henderson's kicking's been brilliant. Well, he cuts it open with a handball that wasn't so good to Curnow, to Scotland. We know how clever he is on both sides of the body. White. It's got Jamison running for him. And then that kick's a good one. Scotland, good work rate. And then Scotland to load up and go to full forward. Judd will fly from the back. Robinson read it best and kicks a goal. It's all happening for the Blues.
And that just highlights sometimes you don't even need to take the mark. I mean, Judd was about third in line. He was never going to be in a position to take the mark. All he did was try and affect the spoil, which he did. And then to get players at the fall of the ball. On that occasion, Robinson, it was Robinson. You know, generally it's one of their other small forwards, but that was just really good play by Judd.
For sure.
Well, here's the kick again by Scotland. You see Judd just jumping at the back there. He's never going to try and take the mark. He didn't try to. In fact, he just tried to knock the ball forward, and Robinson front and centre. And that was just a classic bit of roving.
Robinson coming off 29 possessions last week against the Crows. Back in the middle. Gawn won it down. Hampson goes back, retrieves it, gives it to Murphy. Murphy winning the ball around the stoppages at the present time. Frawley in trouble. Nicholson, Jones, they've got him. Well, the chicken wing tackle, sort of. They both had a arm there as they took him down. A tag team. Betts got the free kick. Not sure how the umpire decided. Murphy kicks into an oncoming defender. Loose ball about 50 metres out. In trouble, falling to the ground. Jones. That was Matt Jones. Trying to force a passage there and going nowhere as the first gamer. Or is it McDonald? It's McDonald wedged in there.
I mentioned before it was McKenzie that had gone to Murphy, but it's in Bale that's still on him. But he's really upped the ante, hasn't he, Murphy, in this quarter?
Spencer will get a free kick.
Don't you start that again, Dennis.
What's that, mate?
Chicken wing.
Well, they did have an arm each, didn't they? It was, one of them was saying to the other, make a wish.
Garland to Howe. And Howe Okay. Got to Nicholson. He's a left footer, and now he's in a bit of a spot, and Betts worked him into that, and then Garlett, and then Nicholson forced to kick down the line. Good mark in front of Henderson. That was a strong grab. Now he's got players running. He doesn't get off the mark too far, and then lazy, slow kick. Good mark by Dunn.
That's really good play by Dunn. He's actually running with Chris Judd this afternoon, and there's one area of his game where he can probably expose Juddy. It's going forward, because he has actually played as a key forward for Melbourne in the past. So that's really smart play on his behalf to recognise that that's where he had to really run and run hard forward.
I said lazy, slow kick in the end. I mean, he's popped it up and probably given Dunn a chance. So he's averaged nearly a goal a game. As you said, he's played a lot of forward footy. He's a long kick, and he's normally a pretty good kick. And the D's need to keep the scoreboard ticking over. That's the one thing they've got to do now. They're 5 goals behind. They've got to keep up from this point on, and they've got their second, so that's okay. Don't know if you change your mindset or not, Tim. I mean, they've got to score. I mean, they're trailing. I mean, restricting Carlton is good, but you've got to score, and at least they've kicked 2 goals in the last 5 minutes.
And you've got to put together chains of possession, don't you? And they still aren't having anywhere near enough of the footy, but it was really promising to see Gawn, who came out the goal square, to come up to half forward and actually take that mark, because often that's the most critical one, the one between, you know, the wing and half forward. Here's a really good slow-mo pick of Dunn approaching for the ball.
Don't retaliate.
Something in the goal square.
Jeremy, you got the free kick. You got the free kick.
That's Jeremy Howe, I would imagine.
You've got the free kick.
Jeremy trying to pull his own players out of there, realising he's going to get the footy out of all of this. It was a long way from the action, with focus back in the middle, and suddenly all heck broke loose at one end of the ground. So this is a great result for Melbourne.
It's against Andrew Walker. We have the chime. Yeah, wait for the chime.
So Walker has been penalised. The best part of 80 metres off the ball.
Let's clear it out, guys. I'll wait till he calls you to go, okay? Thanks, Kate.
So Tapscott, well, Tapscott got the kick after all of that.
And
goal.
Just giving a little bit of a pat there to Walker. Walker coming straight from the ground. I don't know whether or not the runner has gone out to him. It looks like he may have gone out to him. Just a couple of words from the runner. No doubt there'll be another couple of words from Mick Moldhouse when he gets to the bench.
Top left look.
Gee. There you go.
There you go. And that's right up there in the goal square. And just a push. Looked like he got him a little bit too high.
And straight on the headset, boys. As soon as Andrew Walker got to the bench, the headset went on. Mick wanted to chat, definitely.
So when the umpire said, Jeremy, your ball, he meant generically it was Melbourne's ball. Pardon me. Spencer goes after it, thumps it down towards half forward. Give it to the game, Tim. Down goes Viney. Over the top, Jones. Burrowing in is McKenzie. McLean's in there as well. McKenzie clears the pack, actually, but going no further. He's getting a free kick for a push in the back.
There's Walker having a conversation, I would think, to Mick Moldhouse, but gee, you've got to recall that one. Both ruckmen have a realistic chance of being able to compete for the ball.
Evans to Viney, back to Evans, who stumbled then. Curnow did well, Slidden at the tackle, goes after the football over at Garland, confronted there by Yaron. And the pack is moving, and the umpire will call it up. Now, in that situation with Walker on the phone to Mick, that's almost a debate you could win, because there would have been no chance that Mick would have seen it. So in the short term, you could almost pull that one off.
He would have been looking at our pictures, though, Mick.
Yeah, no.
He's a man of the media.
Den, do you reckon a player wins an argument with Mickey?
No. But you got some hope.
So Dunn to Sylvia. Gee, next goal, if Melbourne could get the next goal, I know they've had a little bit of fortune. There'll be some real heat in this match. Suddenly the game's gone up, hasn't it? I mean, the Melbourne fans, and there's a fair crowd here today, are starting to get involved. So there's a little bit of a moment here. And Carlton did all the flying. Tapscott couldn't quite get to Tuvey, though. Tuvey and over the line. Tuvey, I should say. Tuvey, of course, not playing anymore in Scotland, hurting himself. So Melbourne pushing here. Gawn front spot. Warnock, Jones and Simpson, and then Jones will look for one in the back. White with him. That ball still trying to come out. Melbourne trying to gang it out there, and that ball still not out. And now a stoppage about 20 metres from the Demon goal.
She looked a bit unlucky then. Jones got to
yeah.
get a free kick for in the back.
5 inside 50s for 3 goals, Melbourne, in this term. Warnock knocks it down. McLean could have almost got a free then too. And the umpire calls for it. 20 metres out. Plenty of footballers now around the ball. Gawn straight to Lucas, as it turned out. Kicks it outside the defensive 50. Coming up to meet it. Still a little rusty as White. Tries to knock it to his own advantage. McDonald taken down by White. And we'll have a boundary throw in.
And Dennis, this is a real change in the game. At this stage of the second quarter, 42 disposals to Melbourne, 37 to Carlton. So they're actually starting to control the ball for the first time in the game.
So the signs are good. Boundary throw in just outside the 50 then. Warnock. Gentle bounce off his opponent as they approach the football. Gave him some space. And now it's a free kick to Carlton. He knocked it down to the advantage of this man Robinson. Robinson told to play on from half back. Not a good kick. Wanders up towards the wing. Betts, full-chested, bounced off the chest. Yaron had a play on the ball. Left it for Garland, who kicked down towards the 50. Knocked forward by Garland. Taken by McDonald, was it, who puts the ball out of bounds, or was it Frawley? McDonald.
Becky.
So
Becky.
that was an interesting play by Garland. Was able to get the ball away from Wade in a marking contest. A lot of the Blue supporters thought it was a free kick.
Mismatch in the forward line at the moment too. McDonald's actually playing on Betts.
So let's see if Carlton can expose that. McLean and Jones going for it. Frawley. And the ball up.
Now they're going to make the switch. Garland's going to go back to Betts and McDonald's going to go back to the goal square on White.
Just shows you Garland's value, Tim. I mean, he can play on the bigs or the smalls. He was with Wade a moment ago in a contest. So Lucas back to Simpson, and then Simpson misses the target. Scotland and Mackenzie and Scotland go for the same ball. Free kick. Mackenzie got down lower. That was really the advantage. First and lower. So Melbourne having little victories here. Can they turn it into something? That kick's very dangerous. Over the back, Nicholson, can he release? Evans ran into a lot of trouble. And then Garlett trying to get through. Tapscott bashing and crashing, got rid of Scotland. Gee, strong Tapscott. And then Evans belting the ball forward. Little kick off the ground from Curnow. Henderson on the up. Robinson gets a lot on it, gets to the space. Important that Melbourne hold it up. Sylvia did well. Still with Sylvia and taking on his old teammate.
Knew he could beat him. Clean stuck with him though. Loose ball behind the pack coming through. Robinson in the grasp. Gave it across to Tui. Tui hard against the boundary line. Setting himself right. Terrific. That'll be good for his confidence. He hung on under real pressure, but then messed it up. The man who was standing the mark, McDonald, picks up the footy, goes to Evans. This is good stuff from Melbourne. Stirring stuff at the moment. Getting back is Henderson. Lucas wants it wide. Breaking further upfield is Ellard. Ellard is continuing his run. Ball comes back towards Jamison. Ellard spent now. He's gone too far. Walker paddles it back towards Lucas. Can't get through. Strong tackle got him down. It was Howe. Backing out of trouble there was Jones. That was Matt Jones towards Nicholson. Getting in the midst of all of that was Jamison. But Melbourne had the numbers and the ball spills out of bounds. Good work by that man Bale. And we'll have a boundary throw in.
Look at that, the last 5 inside 50s, all Melbourne. So they are really coming at Carlton at the moment. And just a little bit untidy again in that last kick from the middle of the ground into their forward line. They didn't have the numbers back then, Melbourne.
Hampson, good tap to Ellard. And then Frawley hooking the ball back to a contest. It was Walker and Trengove. Scotland back to White. Had a lot of the ball wide. Running hard and then deciding to kick high and long. Trying to get it inside that 50. They haven't done it for a while, as we saw the stat a moment ago. Hampson pushing forward. And then Jones running the ball inside the Carlton 50. That handball. Frawley. McDonald. Oh, he nearly got himself into a stew. But Frawley, quick give. Well done by Nicholson. He had to release in a hurry. Garland with a long ball. He's just trying to buy some time and space. He had nowhere to go. It was either kicking it out on the full or kicking it to Jamison. And he did the latter. Then Jamison squares to Henderson. What a different game in the last 10 minutes.
It really has changed complexion. Tapscott gave a contest brilliantly done to the advantage of Burns. edged out of it. Simpson on his knees. Curnow under pressure. Tui confronted, legged as it turned out. He was tripped, no free kick. Simpson still over the football. Treadgrove got him, hacked out of midair by Matt Jones, but he couldn't control the football. Walker wins a hard ball, kicks it virtually straight up. It will be a mark. It went 15 barely. Oh, Jones took the mark, breaks away. This could be inspirational. Will it carry the line? I think it did. No. Was it touched?
Oh, wow. I think we're looking at a review.
Oh, I think so. And it looked across the line from our vantage point.
I'd go for the review.
Anything, Brad?
Wow.
Score review. We believe the ball's hit the post. So please confirm.
Okay. That makes more sense because I saw the guy go behind the goalpost as he took the ball.
Yep,
Yeah,
it's come off the post.
It did hit the post.
That is a good call from the umpire.
I'll say.
He's in the perfect straddling position there too.
So I'm looking straight at the Mars bar there, and I did see him disappear, so
Vision
it couldn't have been a mark.
completed. Vision shows ball hit the post.
Ball hit the post. Well done. Now,
Ball
the video
cleared.
reviewers worked there. And the goal umpire, I've got to say, was straddling.
That was the perfect straddle.
Yes.
It was good play by Jones. It was a moment in the match, wasn't it, that would have made such a difference. Free kick, high tackle.
Gee, they've upped the tempo though, haven't they, Melbourne? They've been bold and they've been brave in their attack on the ball, and the Carlton player with the ball.
No, it's been good stuff, Tim. So Tap's got, well, he got too close. No vision there. It might come off, though. Bale. Well, missing. What do you reckon, Lingy? Can they sustain it? I mean, Mark Newell was up and about when he spoke to you. I mean, I thought it would have been doom and gloom at quarter time.
Yeah, he was really positive, and this is just great to watch. A bit of character from Melbourne. They haven't quite got the composure to finish off their work, but they're having a genuine crack, which is all you can ever ask for.
Nathan Jones again in the action. His hand pass to no one in particular, so he goes and redeems the situation. Kicks inside the forward 50 and Viney. Viney gets on the end of it, well within range, the youngster.
Jones has been outstanding, hasn't he, in the last 5 minutes?
Just continuing what he's done all season, really.
Up to 12, 9 of those are contested possessions. So none of what he has to do comes easy because he's got to work extraordinarily hard. He wears a tag every week, but he's an in and under effective player.
So Jack Viney. Oh, not good. Hangs it way out to the left and through for a minor score barely. So that would have been something given their effort. They're down by 20, but the game in the last 15 minutes certainly not reflecting that.
Same number of scoring shots now, so 10 apiece. Carlton are on here now. Betts is on. If they can get the ball to him, it rolls out. Betts was making a beeline to the 50.
And one of the defenders just pointing back to one of the other players. I'm just trying to pick up who it is there. It's not.
And what's the message, you think, Tim?
Well, the message was just make sure that he doesn't get goal side of you.
Judd roving it well to Ellard, and then Ellard quickly onto the boot. Oh, Robinson, nearly a good mark. And then Turlick has to hold him up. Oh, well released. Yaron, and then Betts to Armfield. And the Blues get the one they needed. They break the shackles.
Well, the message was to Nicholson, and again, it was Betts. If you go back to that go back to that contest, Betts actually got on the goal side of the contest. There wasn't a Melbourne player on goal side of him, so he had all that clear space to run to, and it was a very easy setup in the end for Melbourne, for Carlton.
Judd's little 10%ers today have been brilliant. Again, he was the one that started all that happening. His clearance work's been great.
Well, there's a contest. There you see Eddie Betts. Okay, goes there. Then he's to tackle, then slips out the back again. And it's all clear blue sky after that.
What a heartbreaker for the Demons. A kickable goal at one end. Goes the length of the ground, and Carlton kicked the goal after the Melbourne miss. Off the ground. Tapscott sends it inside the forward 50. Gawn camped over the football. Henderson right there with him, trying to wrench it away. Tui in trouble, but got a hand pass out. Strength of the man. And now Walker feigns a hand pass, accelerates out of the pack, but misses the leading target. Robinson, though, putting pressure on Turlick, and the ball goes out of bounds. So at least in territory, the Blues gain something. 51 plays 25. Inside 2 minutes before half-time. Real competitive second term. The problem, as far as Melbourne were concerned, The score at quarter time, 5-1 to 3 behind. Here's Judd again, trying to impact the game. McKenzie, no way through. Ball up.
So 9 of the last 10 inside 50s for the Demons, but the Blues have got the most recent goal. Judd in close, terrific today. We haven't seen much of him outside, but he's got a lot of the clearances. Here's Sylvia. Kicked a goal earlier. Long kick and good mark. Henderson. He's continuing to grow, Henderson. He's missed a lot of footy, even when he started at Brisbane. He's had very little continuity, but he's a lovely kick and a good defender.
He kicks the ball so deep, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's got great length, Tim. It carries on both sides of the body. Murphy, haven't seen him for a few minutes. He was terrific early in this quarter. And then that little kick to Waite. Good mark.
Kick coming 2 metres, play on.
Waite, and then little barrel down low. Garlett, brilliant pickup. Twists and turns, looks inside. And Yaron, who's done a lot but hasn't kicked a goal, may get on the board now. They do combine so brilliantly. It was really on a Monday night when they cut the Saints up, these three amigos. Remember when Security were...
What about that gather, though?
Oh, he's brilliant.
That wasn't an easy gather then.
And then look at the pass.
It was bullet-like.
So Yaron maybe to finish off here. So 2 goals to Betts, 2 to Garlett. And Yaron, who's the leading goal scorer at the club coming into this match today. And he's been in sparkling form. And missing.
It's been the difference this quarter, though. Yaron not finishing off with the goal there, but Carlton's kicking ability around the ground, they're going at 75% effectiveness, whereas Melbourne's below 50%. It's a huge difference. It's almost right on cue.
You're right, Lingy, and that is the difference between the top sides and the bottom sides in the competition.
So 19 seconds to go, and that ball was juggled across the line, according to the boundary umpire. Warnock trying to pull it back to a dangerous spot. Nathan Jones grabs it, though, kicks to midfield. Is there time for Melbourne? Burns has got the football. Garland is breaking for him. Burns decides to lay the ball into the path of Tapscott instead. He's about 70 metres out. Clock continues to run. Half-time. So, interesting quarter. And one of the very best that Melbourne have played this season. OK, they got 12 against GWS, but this is a different kettle of fish this afternoon. The Blues and that man, their champion. Only 7 possessions for the Judds to the half-time, but some important touches nevertheless. Carlton 8-4, Melbourne 3-7. Umpire just holding the pose there. 52-25, competitive second term. Melbourne still with some work to do, but it was heartening that second quarter. They really took it up to Carlton physically. Hooking it down behind his Spencer. Murphy did nicely. Judd starting inside the centre square as he did at the opening bounce. Not a lot of the football. Maybe he'll get more involved. Warnock, Lucas. Lucas 40 metres out, kicks towards full forward. Way off target though, runs towards the boundary. And even Betts can't conjure something there and the ball rolls out of bounds.
Interesting, Lucas. I'm not sure if I think he was trying to go to Betts in the end, but it was not one or the other, was it? A shot at goal or Betts, but done pretty well, Lucas, so far this season. That continuity important. Yaron and Warnock, and then clever Warnock, and Murphy should kick it, and he does. So Murphy gets his second goal. So unfortunately for Melbourne, they didn't really touch it there from the boundary throw-in. Warnock got involved. Betts got involved, Warnock got back involved, and then Murphy. And for him, that's a simple shot, just cross your body.
Just looked really open and loose, that stoppage so deep in their forward line too, didn't it?
He's had a good day, Murphy. He was up and about in that second quarter. You always love it when the midfielder like him's kicking goals. You feel like it makes a difference to the end result.
There's Warnock. That's a really smart handball, isn't it? There's 3 Melbourne players to send upon him. Obviously, that means that there are other Carlton players around that stoppage loose, and a really good finish from Murphy.
Very quick goal then. Back in the middle. Spencer has to wait. Warnock flew over the top, knocked it down. Curnow finds it on the deck, made it very awkward for Warnock. McLean coughed it up. McKenzie gave it to Nathan Jones. He hand passes forward, gained about 15 metres. Socket off the ground by Curnow out towards the boundary. Good bump by the little guy. Garlett got his man off balance. but then the ball rolled out of bounds. So boundary throw.
Sorry, Lingy, I always thought these first 5 minutes or so after half-time were so critical. You go back into the rooms at half-time, you can calm down, but it's always the side that actually gets out there and starts to compete really well or really hard early in the third quarter.
Yeah, absolutely, Tim. You don't want to come out flat after a half-time break. And Carlton were the ones really out of the blocks then. Good challenge for Melbourne. Really good mental challenge now. They were terrific in that second quarter. If they can repeat that again, they can get themselves in the game. But they don't want to give Carlton too many goals at the start of this third quarter.
That's for sure. Warnock's tap looked good, but Judd just couldn't quite get it. And then Dunn. And I think I bought. Hey, Lingy, you spoke to Chris Stores. Just one off the top. Do you think they'll play him similarly just to what that sort of second ruckman forward? I mean, how do you think they'll play him when he comes back?
I suspect he'll play more as a forward, maybe the odd burst in the ruck, but I reckon they need that big key target to go to. They need someone who just straightens them up a little bit, and I imagine Dorsey will play that role.
OK, looking forward to seeing him, because Mitch Clark's out, of course, isn't he? Out for, a couple of months. They haven't had much luck with their recruits. I mean, Clark showed so much last year for them, didn't he?
Yeah, no, he was a gun. He was an absolute gun, and a real surprise packet for many people too, and a really difficult bloke to match up on full forward.
Ooh, good tap again by Warnock, and then Robinson belting it forward.
High ball, battling down there is Hampson. Could have been held on to. Frawley pushes him aside. Turlick behind the packet to play on the ball. That's interesting. Yaron just rolling him towards the pocket. We'll have a ball up.
Frawley's really had his measure, hasn't he, Hampson? He's been really comfortable in those one-on-one duels. He's a lot stronger than him. He's been able to out-bustle and out-position him.
One down by Spencer, that one. McLean on his knees. Couldn't do much with it. In the opposite direction, Evans. Third term always vital in a game like this. Often the poor team goes in and is quite content with what they've done. The good team steels itself to do better. Saw that yesterday, GWS and Essendon. Essendon had time to think about how bad they'd been. And they're a top side. Evans goes a long way. Just kicks it short of the wing. Howe's got it now. Looks towards the outer side. A couple to choose from. It's Jones. Matt Jones gives it across to Turlick. Kicks it down towards half forward. Geez, a good player, Scotland. Best and fairest last season.
Carlton.
Amongst a lot of quality, he put his name up as the #1 player in what was a disappointing season in retrospect.
And seemingly ageless, Dennis. He's 32 years of age, yet physically as good as he was, I think, a decade ago. Here's Garlett running hard. Normally uses the ball well. He's hugging the line. Hampson and Frawley in a boundary throw-in.
The last tap from Warnock in the forward line was actually a really good tap, but the Carlton players went to the wrong spot. He actually got a good clearance. Let's see whether or not he can make advantage of this one too.
So the GPS on Frawley, on Sylvia, who gets the ball now, and also on Evans. That back to the centre wing. Howe. Haven't seen a lot of that today. Almost took it. Tringo's handball. Good one. This is young Kent. Now he takes a bounce. He's trying to run away from his man. Simpson. Free kick to Melbourne. So legged, it does get down low. Good decision. So,
well, I think it might cut it in clack line, but Simpson chasing it doesn't happen very often up there.
I just hope he's had time to clear the lactic acid in his legs, because that was a long, long run.
I liked his confidence, Tim. I mean, he didn't hurry. He hurried running. He didn't hurry getting rid of the ball. Still a teenager. One of a number of youngsters for Melbourne today. We talked about the fact this is the most inexperienced team that they've had under Mark Neild. And I tell you what, they've missed some set shots today, haven't they? Well, the scoreboard tells that tale, I guess, but they've had some chances.
Yep.
3-4 from set shots. Sorry, Dan.
That's what bad teams do sometimes, though, isn't it? They break your heart because of those things, and that's why they're where they are. Ball comes down towards half forward. Yaron onto the footy, fancies his chances, and then backs off. Kicks down towards full forward. McDonald comes up. Turlick's in trouble. At very close quarters, gives it across towards Nicholson, who kicks it straight to Armfield. So Armfield within scoring range here.
Gee, Sylvia showed some pace then, didn't he? I mean, he had the better angle on Yaron, but Yaron really struggled to shake him.
So Armfield, boy from Swan Districts.
Boys, don't get forward to the mark.
Played rugby growing up. This one probably will just curve right to left. Probably right goalpost will do the trick.
Gee.
Oh. I'll just leave the ground now and I'll call you back in about an hour to see who won, Tim.
You've actually read the Greens well today, Jen, until that moment. That's okay. Everyone's entitled to miss a putt.
That was a missed kick.
That went exactly the opposite to what you said.
Tim, I'm aware of that.
Timmy.
You're laughing too earnestly. Yeah, cut that out.
Are you okay, Tim?
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine, but I'm with you, Dennis. I thought it was going to go the other way too. I'll tell you where they've been good, these point kick-ins.
Lingy?
Well, this is a definite set play. It's almost an exact copy of the one in the first quarter. Not quite as clean as the one in the first quarter where it just went mark, mark, mark down for a goal. But that was pretty much the same thing. They're getting that bloke running away from the kick out over the top, and they've done it very well today.
And a great finish in Armfield now. Well, he's strengthened by all of that. He can kick a third goal and just misses.
Now he gets the hook working.
And that was a beautiful tap from Hampson in the centre bounce there too.
They're on top everywhere at the moment. They've really come out sharp and putting Melbourne to the sword here. And this is where a team like Melbourne that have been beaten by big margins, had awful halves and quarters, they've just got to dig deep. They did. It's not dissimilar to last week against Brisbane. They're playing a better team today, but they sort of dug deep from this point last week.
Nicholson breaks away from half-back, kicks it down towards half-forward, into the path of Kent. Can't keep it in. Boundary throw in.
So that's another kick that really should hit its target. Like the carrier of the ball actually has plenty of time. He's not under a lot of pressure to hit that target. And rather than it be a neutral situation now, a throw in, it should be in Melbourne's possession.
Hampson directs it down, too close to Robinson though, bounces away from him, taken by Sylvia, hooks it along the boundary. Well done by Henderson. He's an emerging player, Henderson, and so important for them. They need a bit of heightened defence, and he's playing very well. Boundary throw in. Testing time for the ruckman. Spencer just got there, put some pressure on, then falls on the footy. Trying to get himself up as McLean. The umpire whistles it up, baller.
There hasn't been a dominant forward on the ground today, though, in terms of the tools. There's only been Waite that's only kicked the one goal, and he's the only guy over about 6 foot that's actually kicked a goal.
Sylvia, Spencer, Tui, back to Sylvia, off a step. Does he get the length and the angle? Not quite either, and it's a boundary throw in.
It's a better result for Melbourne, though. At least they've got the opportunity now to work their way through a stoppage, get a hit to advantage, and see whether or not they can conjure up a goal from here.
And Carlton have hurt them with the kick-ins today, so you're right, Tim. Hampson, unopposed, down towards McLean and Judd. Spencer looked a little high at first and then ripped him down for a ball up. So Melbourne need a goal here. They're inside that 50, a stoppage. They need to create something here.
They've got to create a little bit of space here, try and create a hitting space in a dangerous part of the ground.
Well, Hampson won it comfortably. Scotland gets it back to Henderson, ricochets. Gee, Walker did well there in close against Tapscott.
Still inside the forward 50 for the D's. Spills across to Howe. Wheels around as Jeremy Howe. Long ball down towards full forward. Needed to be in two places. Ball off hands and it rolls across the line. Just imagine his profile for a top team in the competition. Ball comes out wide. They've done this pretty well this afternoon, particularly on this side of the ground, just clearing space and going the length of the MCG. That's ambitious. Very short. Yaron gets it back though from Scotland. Maybe the problems start now for Melbourne. He can split the indifference right there. Well done by Simpson. That was the perfect kick. There was some doubt certainly in the minds of the commentators, but not so the men who came to meet the ball, Simpson. And the finishing work brilliant from White onto the chest of Murphy. Goes short again. Garland could have been pushed in the back. Armfield onto the loose ball. He's been dangerous in this term. Slams it at Hampson. Picked up there now by Burns. He's immediately tackled. And the umpire will come in and ball it up about 30 metres out directly in front.
There won't be a more precise attacking kick in AFL football this year.
Absolutely brilliant, wasn't it? And here's Betts getting through to Garlick to Murphy, who has kicked a third goal. Murphy, 3 to the captain. Looks like he's playing that forward pocket bit, isn't he? Yep.
Yeah, he likes that part of the ground, I think, Macca.
Well, who doesn't, Tim? I mean, who didn't like kicking goals? And He's an outstanding midfielder that can go forward, we know that, and kick goals. And he's the sort of guy that I reckon really should be aiming to kick 25 goals a year. 1 goal a game plus a couple. And Carlton have put some space in them, haven't they? Dropped them off.
Look at the numbers there. They're small players doing the damage. LR, then Betts, and then the finisher Murphy. Garlett getting involved as well.
Tim, it's the first time he's kicked 3 goals in a game since 2010, Murphy. So, spoken a little barrier there. Judd with a little one out of the centre. They've really put a space between themselves and the D's now. McLean's kick forward. Waiting for the bounce. Ellard and Jones. Jones has been a warrior today. Against the odds. Burns, quiet day, and then coughs it up, Murphy.
Murphy goes down towards the pocket, stretching his weight, thought about going. Still behind the mark there.
Gee, Dennis, I've enjoyed the ruck work too. That tap from Warnock, that last tap from the centre bounce was just a beautifully soft, feathery touch.
I think he's the pick of their ruckman. It's just what he does around the ground that will determine whether he gets a consistent game or not. As we said, we highlighted the fact going with the 2 big blokes today, White misses everything. Puts it out of bounds on the full.
Dennis, could you see Cruiser playing with Warnock in the same team? Or Hampson then would be under the pump, wouldn't he?
Yeah, I would think so. I think Cruiser perhaps could go forward as a key forward, although with White back, they probably don't need that. Just as a pure tap ruckman, I think Warnock is the pick of them. And Cruiser's not bad either. Out of defence, then it's done. Kicks to the defensive 50. Awkward one for Nicholson. Yaron stayed on his feet. Nicholson fights back, did pretty well. Coming through is Garland, tackled by Judd, slips a hand pass away. McDonald short of the wing, kicks towards half forward. The kick favours the defender. Well played by Henderson. Just stood his ground. Kent came back on him, and he was quite dismissive. Now on the outer side too, he can bypass one and go the longer lead. McLean is about 65 metres out, looks for Waite again. And Waite starting to find his touch now. And most of it in that right full forward pocket. The kicking hasn't been equal to the ball getting.
That's McDonald's opponent too, Dennis. And so McDonald comes up the ground on this side of the ground, messes up the kick, goes directly to Carlton. They switch the play, and then his man gets the ball in the other's pocket.
So Waite has booted 1 goal. Well, he missed near side last time, and he's just got this one through for a far side point.
He's got a lot of good attributes, McDonald, but in modern day football, if you can't hit targets, easy targets like he just missed then you're going to play your way out of the game.
He's kicked poorly today, and
he's untidy.
3 big mistakes he's made with the ball. So short to Frawley.
You can improve your kicking. There's no question about that. If you've got the desire and the commitment to do it, you can improve that part of your game. But he is going to have to get a lot better.
So Matt Jones in the back pocket. Melbourne need a response here, and that's a good mark from Hampson.
Oh, he's getting a rock star reception now.
They're not going to get off there. So Tim reading the article that his partner Megan Gale saying that he's like a rock star everywhere he goes, but he's been getting the Bronx cheers a bit today, but that was a great mark. And then off a step, kicks to half forward. Oh, Betts went early. Too easy.
You can't really have the smallest bloke in the forward line taking a mark like that overhead, can you?
No.
Not if you're concentrating.
And you can't have a body off him when the high ball's coming in.
This is a good mark. So Betts, good finisher that he is. The other thing about the Amigos, they don't fumble very often. They are so good. And that's a brilliant kick from Betts. And not quite getting all the way. Just, you know, you think of Garlett and Betts on at full pace and Yaron. Rarely do they fumble, and that's what makes them very effective. Can't wait to see them, if we do see them, in the heat of a big game this year on this ground against a really quality opposition.
That's the test, isn't it,
Yep.
Turlick? Still inside the defensive 50. McKenzie hustles back. Another short one finds Sylvia. Sylvia kicks it up towards the wing, and Tapscott. They got the loose man on wide. Tapscott's got the football, clears the mark. Well, he didn't quite. That's the problem. He kicked into the man on the mark. McLean taken down, and that will kill you. There was a man on to the outer side. They'll get the ball back, but it's not the same moment. Burns kicks inside the forward 50, then Gawn. Punched away by Walker from behind. Taken by Tapscott. Kicks towards full forward. Misses everything. It bounces out of bounds in the opposite pocket.
He's a go at Tapscott, Tim. I mean, he's just got to tidy up a bit, doesn't he? I mean, he's certainly competitive.
Yeah, no, he's got all that covered. There's no question about that.
So Melbourne desperately needing a goal here. They're not going to win this game, we know that, but they can't get blown away. It's so important for them to try and hold this margin. And that one. So, well, here's a free kick.
Dived on the ball, Zach.
This
You
will
must
help.
knock it out. Mark, back 1 metre, Zach. Just here, mate.
Remember, they got it.
You dived on the ball, so you have to get it out.
So another chance for a goal from a free kick close to the goal square here for the D. So Matt Jones, who
He's on the mark
I don't
now.
reckon he's kicked a goal. No, he hasn't kicked a goal yet. 25-year-old, mature age recruit. So this is, I'd imagine, his best chance of his first goal in AFL footy. And he's got it. And Melbourne get one after half-time. Well, they've had a couple of lucky breaks, but they've worked. Look, they deserve, I think, to be maybe a couple of goals closer, maybe 1 or 2.
Maybe. I mean, the things that we spoke about earlier in the game, their untidiness with the ball, it's hurt them again in the third quarter when they've had opportunities to go forward. They haven't been able to hit the targets. I was just having a look at Jack Trengo's stats for the game. He's had 3 touches. 2 of those have been ineffective, and he's just come from the ground again. He's just not been able to generate enough play.
So 34 minutes between goals there for Melbourne. It took them 34 minutes to get their first goal.
Right to go.
There's a plan in there somewhere, I think, Tim. 73 plays 33. Spencer favoured by the bounce, although over the top Warnock thumps it outside the centre square, taken by Garland. Betts hanging on for grim death. Well done by Eddie Betts. Goes in there reaching for the football, and in that manoeuvre really tied it up. Garland, I think, momentarily lost possession. Although the crowd adamant it was holding the ball. Backhanded down brilliantly by Warnock into the path of Murphy, who's booted a few. He's got 3-2 in this term. Offhands Frawley, arriving quickly. Garlett could almost bring him back for Garlett.
It was the second action then, wasn't it? The first part of the tackle was okay, and then he actually went deep into his back, and he can plead his case.
I've got to pay that, mate.
The ball had left the vicinity, I think, by the time he fell on his back, but they paid it.
That first bit of play then from Frawley, though, he just used his body so well against Hampson. Hampson just needs to learn how to actually plant his feet, spread his legs.
Garlett pops it through. Easy stuff. He's got 3. '79 plays 33. As Tim said, initially Frawley seemed to be in control, but Garlett, Quicksilver.
He's done well, hasn't he? We talked about him at half-time, Dennis. He's in good form, isn't he, Garlett? He's a barometer, isn't he, of this team?
Well, it has worked in the past against bottom sides and occasionally against good sides. You spoke about the test, Bruce.
Just going back, Lingy, just thinking back, remember that day when Carlton ran Geelong off their legs here at the MCG, and Garlett and those guys got really going, didn't they? I mean, that's the sort of footy they're going to have to play this year to be a top 8, maybe top 6 4 team.
Yeah, I think when they did that to Geelong, I think everybody just stood up and thought, well, look out, here come Carlton. And they probably stagnated for a couple of years now, but they're almost clicking again, and they're very, very dangerous.
Tui's kick forward, Hampson in a good contest, and then Curnow fending, but he's had a long time to get rid of it. Good hands there from Sylvia, and then wins it back, Sylvia. Good play, and then a poor kick, coughed it up to Scotland. Murphy's been terrific, hasn't he? He's probably worked his way into BOG and gets to Armfield, and then Armfield releases Simpson on the right side for him now. Didn't look a good kick off the boot. It's a contest, though, and Demon's getting back.
It was brave then for McLean to go back with the fly of the ball, because he was never going to be able to mark that ball, but he effected a spoil.
We've looked at their draw, and we'll look a bit more closely at it later on. Carlton can really launch their season Well, they've probably done it by beating West Coast and then Adelaide, but they can really launch in the next 5-6 weeks.
Matt Jones kicks it up towards the wing. Trengove hasn't seen a lot of the footy this afternoon, coming up for only his 4th possession. Spoke about that last week. Copped a heavy knock too last week. We did say that perhaps they've done him no favours by the captaincy. He seems to be labouring under it at the moment. Good mark taken by Jamison, Scotland. Now they're queuing up on this side of the ground. Simpson's got it. Breaking for him is Curnow, who backs off. Curnow is running deeper. Robinson's got the ball. He was the short lead. Back to Simpson. Too cute by half. Could have been holding the ball. Robinson will be. He's taken down. Carlton certainly deserved to lose this. Oh, wow.
They had to be penalised. Had to be penalised then. He had the opportunity to go with the ball. Hesitated, got caught in the tackle.
If prior opportunity were a team thing, they certainly should have got done.
Gawn's quick kick forward. Oh, that's a good mark. Talked a lot about Henderson. We have been impressed. And that's one part of his game that's been so good, the kicking. Robinson, Waite. He commits so early to the mark, Waite, doesn't he? He makes it so hard for people to spoil him. And then Ellard off for kick to half forward. That's a good mark. Well, that's good use of the body by Hampson. And again, getting that cheerio as he kicks to centre half forward. Tui was at the back. Sylvia, Armfield dangerous. Sylvia under pressure. Betts and Garland. Tui getting down low. Good handball. Gets to Armfield. Goes back. Curnow sizing it up. And the kick cut off by Evans. So Melbourne dodge a little bullet. And then Evans' little give out wide to Frawley.
What Hampson did then is exactly what he needs to learn and put more into his game. He actually initiated the contact. He doesn't use his body at all in a marking duel generally.
Here's Evans. Got it from Frawley. Told to play on. Judd standing the mark. Doesn't come too aggressively. This ball goes close to the boundary line. Warnock from behind, content to punch it out of bounds and regroup.
Here's Jamison at the other end of the ground. Now, that's permissible in the rules of the game. You actually can use the forearm like that and just nudge your player under the ball. Didn't use his hands, and that is really excellent body use.
Spencer fires it to McKenzie at close quarters. Dunn goes back. Overlapping is Burns. Close to the boundary, though. It floats out.
And Tim, it really does warm the heart to see that you're still allowed to do that in football. You're still allowed to use your body in a marking contest and take a grab. It's great to see. Well done, umpires.
There's White driving it down towards half forward. Hampson surrounded by Melbourne players. Close to the boundary line. Turlick takes it out, or does he? Oh, bit of daring there. Perhaps he knew he was out. Slow to get up. Here's Frawley.
So Carlton dominating this match. Evans held on to, gets a free kick.
Michael Evans.
So sucking them in, Frawley. Just trying to recover.
Play on.
So off a step, Evans kicks to a contest, and too easy. Warnock on Spencer. J-Mar's missed today, isn't he? I mean, we've talked about the ruck work in this quarter and the dominance of Carlton in that area. Tui getting it. Now has a good kick, Tui. He was under pressure. Betts will be dangerous here. Hands in the back.
Hands in the back. Hands in the back. Hands in the back.
Well, the one thing that you just ask is consistency.
Yep.
And
Haven't got a problem with that one at all, though. That was hands right in the back, not in the side or in the chest or anything like that. That was in the back.
so Evans' quick kick. This is promising.
With the run of the football again, it's Kent. What will he do this time? Bearing down was Jamison. Doesn't affect the kick, though. That's terrific. What a good goal. That's what he had in mind last time when Simpson was chasing. That was wonderful. Young man on debut. Into the game early with the injury to Jack Grimes, and obviously fancies his speed. I've got to say, it doesn't look the quickest thing I've seen, Tim, actually. He hasn't got the body for speed.
No, and he doesn't look, to me, he doesn't look like he's absolutely 100% fit yet either. So, but
I was going to say that, but I was polite.
Well, you've been polite. Well, he just doesn't look as fit as what he could possibly be, that's all. Here's the definite free kick against Edgebet, and that's, I mean, Lingy called it right. You can't just push somebody with both hands in the back and take them out of the contest, out of the marking contest. That is the correct adjudication.
So the margin, 41 points. Gawn on the way down, first hand to it.
Play on.
Burns is over the football, they're over him, and the umpire will do the business again.
It's a good goal by the kid a moment ago. So he's pretty confident. He doesn't rush when he gets the ball. It's Kent I'm talking about. Here's Jones, who kicked his first goal in league footy. So the goal scorers in this term have both opened their account. One is a 25-year-old, the other is a 19-year-old. Interesting with Melbourne today, they've got just about every player they drafted last year, except their highest-ranked player, Tumpus, and yet those traded players like Roden and Pedersen, they've dropped them out today. So they've sort of gone with the blokes they picked in the draft. Burns is out there today. He was a free agent. Now Lucas has had 3, he's had 4 bounces, and now he sizes it up and kicks to full forward, and Garland set himself. Garland. And behind. Don't think we'll ever see a free kick for that again, do you? Rushing the ball forward through the point post. I can't remember the last one we saw. Which I think is, in that case, I mean, what else can you do? So, good common sense umpiring. So, Carlton lead by 7 goals. They've stretched that 27-point lead to 42. Spencer at it. Here's Kent, so he's getting a taste for it.
Putting himself about. Viney, who's been quiet, got it from Tapscott. Or rather Trengove. Now an opportunity for Walker. Walker sends it down towards half forward. Hampson's in front. Juggles the mark. Well, he spread the fingers. It looked for a moment as though Frawley could come over the top, but Hampson simply too tall. Goes looking for weight. Fisted away down there. Opportunity for Melbourne. Nicholson gets the crumb. Kicks it back towards the wing. Bale. It's a good mark. The defensive side of right centre wing. Nobody forward of the centre square. Now breaking for them is Tapscott, but the kick isn't good. Bounces across towards Simpson, who's put down.
You've been reported. Walk away. Don't retaliate. I've got the report. You've been reported. High bum. You've been reported. Number 35, Talbot. You got that? Mark's here. Just wait. Okay, just wait. I've reported him. Okay.
No, that's a terrible report.
Mark's back here.
Well, umpire Leopard thought he spotted something.
Yeah, no, he got him definitely down the side. That won't even...
no, won't see the light of day.
Nah. Let's review panel will turf that straight out.
Simpson to Walker.
So Walker off a step with that left foot. Been a big target in this term, Hampson. And Melbourne sort of hanging on in the last 10 minutes.
Advantage, Carlton.
And now Garland taking advantage and then kicking to space. Good mark, Waite.
That was a brilliant kick, though.
It was, but it's still a very good grab too, Tim, wasn't it?
It was just a really good, strong grab, but that was just a brilliant kick there from Garland.
He is interesting, Waite. I mean, talk about, like, he jumps earlier than most, and he's got great hands. I mean, he's able to put himself into a position he's so hard to spoil. And this is, well, I say it's an important kick. They're way in front, but he'll feel good if he can kick this. He's missed a few. He's kicked one. This is probably the easiest shot he's had all day. It's been a good return, I reckon. Yeah. You'd have to give him a tick. And he struck that a lot better than the others, and still missing. So, how many shots has he had at goal? I'll have to let's have a look, Dennis. Wait, what's he had? He's had 1 goal, 2, and I reckon he's missed another one. So, probably had 4 or 5 shots on goal.
Evans to Strauss as Melbourne bring it towards the wing again. Lurking at the back, Sylvia created his own space, but the hand pass not good. Henderson tapped it to his own advantage. Murphy through midfield, gives it across to Curnow. The high ball inside the 50, then Betts bounces off his chest. Back goes Garland off the back heel of Frawley. In front was Hampson. Ball trickles out the back. Garland once more. Was that in the back? Umpire decides it's time. Didn't make a call on any of that. So 3/4 time, and Carlton, who got the fast start to the third term, suddenly ran out of gas towards the end of it. They're 12-10, so only the 4 goals there, and Melbourne 5-9. Melbourne got a couple. 82 plays 39 on Sunday football. So the margin 43 points as we start this last quarter at the MCG. Sunday football quite gloomy now on the way down. Warnock wins the tap. Spencer, though, crumbs it. Kicks it wide. The angle favours number 32 out there. That's Evans. Well played though by Ellard. Across to Simpson. Well done by Evans again. Back into the contest. Now Matt Jones is away. Strides the outer side. Tui favoured though by a bad kick. In front. Spins out of trouble. Falling to the ground. Coughed it up. Nathan Jones fires a hand pass to Burns. Burns looks down towards the goal square. Set up for the man at the back. How will he know somebody's leaning on him? Somebody's across his body. He was trying to get forward momentum there and he simply couldn't move.
Boys, you can see there Chris Yaron's the man who's been subbed off for Carlton. Karchi's going to play, or he's playing his first game of footy. He's the man who's going to be subbed on.
So one of the amigos off. And then Jones hooking back. Does it stay in? I'm not sure if it's out on the full. Well, that's a bad result for Melbourne.
Lingy, any sign of an injury to Yaron?
Well, I'm not sure, Tim. He was clutching a little bit at the right hamstring, but that I may be kidding myself there. He might be completely fine, but I will keep an eye on it and see how he's travelling.
You just don't strike me as a bloke that kids himself anyway, Lingy. But anyway, Spencer's kick inside. McKenzie looking for it. Garland got it. So that is important. Now, Garland, geez, giving that a roost. That's a long goal. It wasn't touched. It's a goal. Oh, you love your centre-half back doing that every now and then. And that's one thing they haven't been able to do is get those early goals. Yeah. Do you know they haven't kicked the first goal in a match all year, Melbourne? Carlton have done it every time. Wish I'd remembered that moment after 5 minutes. I just thought of it then, Dennis. Do you do that when you go back to the room, think of all the things you should have said?
No, I can't remember where I was, Bruce. You know that. I have to check with you as to whether I was at the game.
Good goal. So what there you go.
Oh, there you go. Oh, he's good, Lingy, isn't he?
That's enough for the Doc. He'll call in from home.
Actually, get Doc Larkins on the phone, Lingy.
I'm on to it, Bruce. I'll get to work.
There's definitely a clutch there, Lingy.
Spencer tapped it down. Warnock feeds it back, taken by Robinson, who hooks it out wide. Now it's a race towards the outer side. Umfield prepared to shepherd. Lucas had no need to fall to the ground there. Dunn kicked it about 25 metres. A scrubby kick along the ground. Clever by Ellard. Knocked it out to accommodate Murphy. Murphy kicks it along the boundary line. Judd comes up and gets a little physical.
Well, he started this quarter at full forward. Dunn has gone with him to full back. Dunn has worn him all day. He's actually done a pretty good job at this stage. Judd's only had the 10 possessions for the afternoon and Dunn's had 8. So, they would think that that's a win.
Push, Melbourne. Push, Melbourne. Jake Spencer.
So
Jake Spencer.
Spencer, first game today. It's coming for Jamar, obviously. Dawes has told us he'll be back next week against the Gold Coast here, so that's good. Henderson being a very good defender, along with Scotland and Jamison. Restricted Melbourne to a very low score. In fact, the Demons have not kicked 10 goals against Carlton for a long time in any match. White started well. And off a step or two down the line. Judd using the body, and then Turlick over the back. Lucas inside. Robinson bashing and crashing, and the mark taken by Dunn. I reckon Tim with Dunn, he's a talent, but I reckon if we could confine him to one role, I reckon when he gets expansive, he gets into problems.
Yeah, no, I think you're right.
And I think this is his future.
Well, yeah, and they've tried him in this position before, and then then they've changed their minds about the way they want to play him. So you're right. I mean, they need to settle on a position for him and decide whether he's a forward, whether he's a backman, or whether he's a run-with midfielder.
He's actually quite suited to the run-with role. He's 192 centimetres and 98 kilos, according to the stat sheet. That's a good size for a run-with play because you can play against the strong bodies and hold your ground in a contest.
Evans to Garland, who kicks it directly out of bounds. But Judd has been in attack quite often this afternoon. They've made him a bit of a sitting duck for anyone who wants to guard him. You think back to when someone gives him a hard tag, he's always been able to run away from them. He almost prides himself on doing that, imposing himself on the game. His role is changing at the present time. The kick falls short of half forward. Garland goes up, claims it, comes down clutching his hamstring. Not a good sign. Oh, he's coming off the ground. Turlick, meantime, who got the short pass, goes over the top to Dunn. Good for him anyway. Dunn streams away and kicks it long down towards half forward. Nathan Jones at the back, coming back with the flight of it, fisted away by the first gamer towards the boundary, and it trickles out of bounds, and we'll have a boundary throw in. Jared Keisha getting a fist on that one, but the veteran, in the meantime, is not happy about his lot. That's bad luck because he's battled manfully in defence down there, Colin Garland.
And kicked a spectacular goal, didn't he, for the start of this term. So Keisha gets his chance with Yaron off the ground. Kerno away, running hard. Armfield, gee, they've got some speedsters when you look at Carlton, don't you? Armfield goes back to Lucas. They'd have a good 100-metre final at Carlton, I reckon. Betts would be in that 100-metre final and takes a good mark.
Who wins?
You'd have Garlett, Yaron, Betts, Murphy, Armfield, Kerno. I mean, Juddy in the old days would have been one of the top seeds, but right now he'd be lucky to make the final, wouldn't he?
Yeah, that means Dunn's got to be in the final as well.
Well, he's the opposition, but...
I know.
So is that 2 movements, Tim? I'm confused.
That's good body work.
Okay.
He fancied himself then too, didn't he?
So 7 disposals, 9 tackles for Betts today. He's kicked 2. Can he match Garlett and match Murphy? He does. So it's a good return. I mean, we talked about the amigos before the game. We got Yaron off the ground with maybe an injury problem. But
that's a concern
Betts
too.
has kicked his 3 and Garlett's kicked his 3.
You'd think we could be pretty comfortable in the box at this stage of the game.
Well, Michael Malthouse, have a look at this, guys. Jock McHale only in front. He goes past Kevin Sheedy today with no number of wins. It's a remarkable career, and a few more to go. I mean, Mick's the sort of guy, he might look at Jock and say, I can take you, I reckon.
Judd, hand passes towards half forward. Waite doing exactly that. Tackle by Frawley. Surely that had to be holding the ball. Had time to get it to his boot eventually. Dunn gives it across to support. The kick comes midfield. Awkward bounce for Tapscott. Tried to tackle Walker on the way through. Missed him. Keisha a little slow that time. He'll work into this game, though, the youngster. The tempo is different to anything he's experienced. Down goes Walker. Strong tackle by Trengove. Got him down. And we'll have a ball up. Kent was there as well.
The thing Judd has done well this afternoon is his clearance work. He's had 7 clearances, more than any other player on the ground.
Warnock tapped it down. Keisha fell over. Taken by Scotland. Emerges with the football. Generally uses it, but not that time. Bale's taken the mark, and Bale indicating where the man should be, and there was evidence too perhaps he was going to take off. A little each way. Most unlike Scotland, this. And again, he could have erred on the long side by quite a bit, couldn't he? There was a lot of grass behind Bale. So Rowan Bale from the School of Hard Knocks. He's taken a few for Melbourne. In a bleak period in their history. Gets a little gloss that time as he puts it through for a goal. 88 plays 51 then. They get a goal from the error by the best and fairest for Carlton last year, and one of their best ball users, Heath Scotland.
He's become a fine player, though, Scotland, hasn't he? Like, watching him today, his reading of the ball in flight and his understanding of where he needs to position himself, how he needs to position himself, and his ability to rebound. And you can see there that he's really disappointed with that last effort.
So rare error from Scotland. We've sung his praises a lot today. He's a very, very good player. Good finish by Bale. So Melbourne, a couple of goals in this final term. It's back to that sort of 6-goal margin. It's been on that for a bit today. Carlton kicked the first 5. And the ball up.
Just a really interesting study, Jack Trengove. We've already talked about him. He's only had 5 possessions. He's now at full forward position for Melbourne.
So free to the D. So get back to that in a minute, Tim. Jones kicking towards Trengove, and with him was Jamison. Bit of a mismatch, you'd feel, in the air there. And then Lucas off the side of the boot. Was a clever kick in the end. And then Simpson on the up. McLean got down, back to Simpson. Swept it beautifully. Here's Kasia. First real look at him. Lovely kick to Hampson out wide. So I think everyone read the same article as you today, Tim. Here's Hampson. winding up and then setting the ball up to full forward. Garlett to fly and over the line. Continue on with Tringo.
Well, he's at full forward at the moment. He's a midfield type player. We've watched him today again. We watched him last week. He looks like he's lacking real power through his... But I just wonder whether or not there's a problem there with his osteitis pubis or some sort of groin injury. But 5 possessions for a player of his ability is a really low number.
Hillard tumbling forward, trying to give it across to Warnock. Around the boundary goes Jones, trying to back out of the pack. There is Bale. Trying to emerge with the football, but going nowhere is McLean, and the umpire will ball it up.
He just doesn't seem to have any power through his body, does he?
No, no acceleration. Just watching him.
Yeah, Jamison got to the ball before he did as well, by a long way too.
Hampson decisively laid it down into the path of McLean. Knew his own limitations. Went to Judd. Judd centres it. Fisted away down there by McDonald. Betts though spins out of trouble. Saggy shorts. Gives it across to the first gamer, and Keisha has missed out to the right rather.
It's looked to the right, Keisha.
What a gather.
Yeah, no, they don't fumble, those guys.
No, they don't.
He's in a spot, Tringo. He's the captain of the club. The other captain, unfortunately, is in hospital with maybe a broken collarbone at the moment, but he has not struck a blow today, and he's just not moving well, so I just don't know where he's at the moment, whether he's not fully fit. Walker. Lingy, does it get harder when your captain is young? I mean, if you drop him, you're making such a big statement, aren't you?
Oh, huge statement, yeah. I don't think for your footy club, you can't drop him. As much as his form is bad, you've got to help him through this one.
Have you seen it? Hampson takes a good mark. Have you seen his game today?
Well, I haven't seen him play this badly in his career, only the 5 possessions. He doesn't get a lot of help around the ball, I must say, but he doesn't appear to have that great run that he had in his first couple of years where he was able to get from contest to contest and use his ability in those contests. Yeah, he doesn't look like the player that I remember he was.
He's never had under 10 disposals, so he's half that. Hampson's had a good second half, really good. And he's on the edge all the time. We know Cruz is getting close. Warnock's in that team, Waite's back, and he just shanks it to full forward and over the back for a boundary throw-in. Just feel, his partner Megan Gale, you just feel like he could take charge of a match at times, Hampson, because he presents a lot, doesn't he?
He's very athletic in his way, isn't he?
Yep.
Works in front as Warnock, reaching over the top. Spencer Judd stretching, hand passes towards goal. He was out of control there. It goes through for a minor score.
He's romantic too, Dennis, because the last time he picked up Megan from the airport, he said, look, have a look behind the seat here, and there was a lovely bunch of flowers, and it wasn't even Valentine's Day.
Your research knows no bounds. There's Curnow, looks inside. Well, he feeds it back a long way, but inside nevertheless. Simpson. Now Scotland at centre-half back. That's a beautiful kick. And Hampson, as if on cue, takes the mark, sends it down towards the wing. This is Walker. He's been all over the ground today. Kicks towards the pocket, coming across on the angle. It's marked there by Turlick. Short one. And Frawley. Overworked defence for all of the season. This ball, perhaps, apart from the final term against GWS. Well done by Keisha. Just hand passes it forward. Simpson. And now Lucas. He comes across. When I say forward, it was forward because he was running that way, but they've taken it a long way back as Tui comes to Walker.
So finding plenty of space. Judd telling Walker where to go with the ball, and then he kicks it down the line. Oh, good stretch, good mark.
He wanted to come off a minute ago, but they said stay out there. You're in a rare vein of form at the moment.
I'll tell you one thing, Tim. I bet she's glad you read that article today. You've given him plenty of mileage, and that's a brilliant mark by Waite. Again, so early with the jump. So Waite to wind it up. Kick to the top of the square. Who are the flyers? Warnock's there. Roving it brilliantly is Garlett. Has he got 4? He does. He's the best of the Migos so far today. Well, that's a great return. 4 goals, and he kicked 4 last week against Adelaide. So he's in that lovely vein of form you want him to be in, doesn't he?
Well, he's one of the best small forwards in the game now. You talk about Thomas, and even Walters has become one of the better small forwards in the game. But that bloke is very consistent in a defensive sense as well.
He only kicked 29 goals last year, so it's all up from here.
they're just so dangerous at the fall of the ball, aren't they? There he is, just reading the ball off the pack, and a good finisher too. He's been one of Carlton's best today.
And prior to this game, he'd only kicked 8 goals in 12 games against the Demons, so he's unleashed something this afternoon. There's a battle. Viney, and over the top, Murphy.
Locked up.
And the
Let him
umpire
up
will
now.
do it
Straight
again.
up,
So
please, guys.
Jack Viney, a lot made of him prior to the season, and no doubt has the credentials to be a good player, but he struggled this afternoon. One down by Warnock decisively. McLean, that was a clever hand pass, sending this man into space, and he takes off. Armfield runs down to the line of the centre square, goes to the pocket. Stretching was Hampson, bounces back to him under pressure. Slides off the outside of the boot and goes through for a minor score. Robinson a little annoyed he didn't get the hand pass, but Hampson had plenty on his plate. Short one to Frawley.
So Frawley just corralled here now. He got himself into a bit of a spot. Has to defensively go back. So Garland back out there, which is good. Might have been cramped before. It looked like a hammy, didn't it? But and then he went into the cramping motion when he came off the ground. Back to Frawley. Such a difficult job to be a defender in a team that's getting defeated so regularly as Melbourne are, and that's what Frawley and Garland are facing for a little while yet. Simpson off a step, just pokes it back. Hampson's been a good target, certainly in the second half. Turlick took a long time. Walker might get involved in a goal. It's a good kick, and Carlton are now really putting some icing on a cake. They're starting to put some space between themselves and the D's, getting a little bit of percentage. Talked a lot about Walker and his sort of role this year, almost off half-back. He's had lots of footy this year. Twice he's had 30 disposals in a match. Today he's around about, well, he's up to 19, but a good finish. Good finish. So they keep on progressing up the ladder, Carlton. Pushing up, pushing up.
So the games to come, Timmy. You wouldn't mind that.
Well, they're all very much winnable games, aren't they? I mean, they should be 7-3, the Blues, and that would be a really good start for them.
They're back on track. A chance to really consolidate. Now there's going to be a free kick, and it's going to Melbourne. Interesting with Andrew Walker. Just 5 goals for the season. 3 of those came in the one game against Collingwood. Oh, gee. Sold into trouble as Strauss. Slammed down by Warnock. Had to be holding the ball, not paid. Hand pass comes across from Matt Jones. Now it's Nathan Jones. Went to ground but kept it going. Garland slips a hand pass across to McDonald. Lays it off to Burns. Burns, scything kick inside the forward 50. Sylvia couldn't hang on. Little 1-2 between Scotland and this man Murphy. Murphy runs himself into a dead end. Tui, Walker, they've got numbers everywhere. In this term, Carlton have kicked 7-9. And of course, that's Melbourne's.
In this half, I gave you the wrong. Sorry about that, Dan. In this half.
Ball goes out of bounds. Let me do the math on that. No, you're right, Bruce. It wasn't you, though. I think I worked it out.
Melbourne have only taken the ball inside 50 11 times in this second half of football, so their opportunities have really dried up, and Carlton's midfield have been on top since half-time.
Okay, she gets it out. Murphy. Robinson. Back to Ellard, and then well done, Jones. I reckon at half-time, Tim, I know you're going to give a top 4 shortly. You would have had Jones in that top 4, but I've got a feeling they're going to be all Blues. But I shouldn't preempt you, and a good tackle and a ball up. So Stacks on the mill. They're the inside 50s. And the Blues' percentage is improving today. They've gone above North Melbourne into the 8. And it's been a solid performance.
Hold the arm against Nathan Jones. Joe Casher. Hold the arm.
So the youngster getting involved.
And the umpire knew his name. That's got to be a good sign, Tim. You're the Christian name and all. Back it comes to Scotland. They do a good job with those names. They must put a lot of time in. There's Tui. Scotland running across half-back. The distributor comes wide to right half-back. Over the top, Jamison. Running hard and getting the ball forward was Curnow. Now it's Walker, takes them on. Realised it was Spencer. Kent is bearing down, but Walker gets the kick away. Wait. Well, he was coming at the football. The umpire says a block. That'll be interesting to watch in replay. White certainly ran into Frawley. Whether Frawley, yeah, Frawley's conscious of him, and I reckon that's a good call. Tim?
Yeah, I'm not so sure about that. I'd like to see that one again. I guess the fact that he took his eyes off the ball, I mean, that's what the umpire adjudicates on generally. And he did take a look at White before the ball arrived.
So White still with just the one goal. And that's better. Puts it through.
Just shows you, Dennis, how hard it is to be an umpire, isn't it? You've got two blokes that have seen a bit of footy between them, and look, it is tricky.
Well, on that one, I'm not so sure, because I reckon you're allowed to be in that position.
Yeah, there's no law says you have to go for the ball.
No,
if you've got a bloke there.
That's right, you can stand there.
Is he going backwards, though?
Well, yeah.
And does he put his arm out? That probably is the giveaway for the umpire, the arm. We'll watch it again, Tim.
So what do you think, Tim?
Well, I reckon he's entitled to do that in that instance. I don't think that his eyes were on anything other than the ball. He wasn't looking back at Wade at the time. So I think he's a bit unlucky.
Taking a mark in footy's never been so complicated, has it?
No,
I mean, it's been a weekend of all of that. So Wade does get their second goal. Gee, this young fella's done all right. He might have thrown that up, Keisha, but he's been in everything since he's come on. Robinson belting it forward. Bouncing ball. Warnock trying to pave the way. Garland, with a little bit of time, gets around Judd to Matt Jones, and then Jones out wide and finds Evans.
If you had the opportunity to take just one Melbourne player, you're going to take one of them. I reckon I'd just about take Garland before any other player.
Which one?
Garland.
Yeah, I would have thought Howe would be high on your list, but
I like the jobs that Garland can do as a defensive player.
No. Lingy, if you had one Melbourne player.
I'm a bit with Tim there. I really like Garland. I also absolutely love, and unfortunate for Melbourne, Jack Grimes. We hope it's not too serious and not a broken collarbone, even though it sounds like it is, but I really love the way he goes about his footy.
So Trengove getting it forward.
I'm with you, Bruce. We're all about flash, you and I. We want Howe.
Well, here's a man that's been in the spotlight today for the wrong reasons. Not many disposals, and that is one.
So Trengove gives it to McKenzie. He goes short. Run on the boundary line is Viney.
Actually, I wouldn't mind this kid either. I love the way Jack Viney goes about it. He's hard and tough, and he's going to be a very good player as he gets a little bit older.
Gee, he's a bit greedy, Lingy, isn't he?
Yeah, I'm picking a few too many now, Bruce, aren't I?
Well, we did say one. So Viney, with his ninth possession, has put it right to the goal line. Didn't have sufficient carry, though, and thumped across the line by a couple of Carlton defenders. 16-13, 7-10. Marginally, Melbourne getting better. Competitive last week. Finished the previous week all over GWS. Carlton is step up in quality from Brisbane. There's Nicholson. Nicholson runs to the 50, trying to work it back left to right. It tries, but too late. Minor score, 53 to 109. 4.5 minutes out from full time. So Carlton very pleased with this effort, I would think, where it puts them and what lies ahead. Very encouraging.
For sure. So they build. Keisha again, a lot of the ball. Lucas, Kerno running hard, and then on the left, ricochets off Judd. Evans kept his balance well, Evans, but almost run down. Little push. Here's Sylvia. Now he lines it up. Sylvia, second bounce. He's trying to draw and draw. Gets himself into a tough spot. That's a great kick. Well, he's a skillful player. That's brilliant. 2 goals for Sylvia today. If you looked at that in isolation, you'd say, how good's this guy? I mean,
Lingy would take him.
Well, he would. I mean, you would. But and look, and I think Cam, he hasn't done a bad job, has he? I mean, he's been okay. I mean, you talked about his work rate.
Yeah, he's been okay. I'm being a little bit critical here, Bruce. I would have said handball that one off and be a certain goal, but maybe that's being a bit harsh.
So what about the GPS, Lingy? What's that tell you?
Yeah, good numbers. I mean, 11.9 Ks, and he's ended up with, he's had 18 touches so far. He does play a little bit more forward than pure midfield. Your midfield numbers are up around the 15K mark. So you combine that with the fact that he spends a bit of time forward. His work rate has been very good today.
Well, he's picked it up because you said earlier he was a shade off the pace, so he's finished strongly, Cam.
He has, yeah, big last quarter, and you can see he's back in the centre bounce there, putting pressure on. He's still working hard, which is great to see.
McLean sends it towards the outer side. Armfield slaps it around the boundary. Frawley gets in front. Fickle bounce, though. Armfield falls to the ground. Hand pass comes wide. Evans a half chance. Murphy slings it in Lucas's direction. Lucas gives it to McLean. Little hand pass to Kayser. He kicks inside the forward 50. Plenty of Melbourne players around the ball, but skirting the pack. Garlett had it smothered. Comes again, does Garlett to Betts. Under pressure, touched off the boot. Garlett, little 1-2-3 between the pair of them. Comes back, Curnow, an interloper. Where did he come from? He kicks the goal. No place in there.
Well, he could be an amigo the way he plays a bit, but gee, it was good stuff, wasn't it? They are clever, these brilliant small forwards.
They're so quick, though, aren't they? Like, was Garland actually got the ball out in the first instance, actually fired the handball out of that congestion.
So, Tim, here's here's Melbourne's matches to come. Just focus in on next Sunday. Would you pick them to beat Gold Coast, Lingy?
Oh, huge game against Gold Coast. They need to win that one. They did the job against GWS. It's at home, which makes it a bit easier. But yeah, if you're in this position where you've got such a young team, you need to be knocking off the other young teams when you get a winnable match.
Who are you tipping, Gold Coast or Melbourne?
Yeah, no, I'm going with Melbourne for that one, but the other three are really tough for them.
Okay, so it's a bit of a barometer match next week, isn't it? They're the matches that make you probably a little nervy. The ones that you start equal favourites in right now when you're in this position as a club. That ball forward, we haven't seen much of Howe today. McLean, the former Demon, high up in their best and fairest. He was taken as a number 5 draft pick for Melbourne, and Garlett out wide. So terrific effort by their small forwards. Yaron, interesting, may have a little twinge. Look that way, perhaps. Kick inside. Warnock done enough again today to suggest that he'll be a hard man to put out. High kick to full forward. Waite flying. Garland and Betts, 3 of the better players on the ground. And Frawley, and a boundary throw in. That's been a big return from Waite. Not the fact he's kicked 2, but he's had a lot of the ball. He's just got to get through it uninjured, doesn't he?
And just what he did there, Bruce, just running to a pack, hitting it hard, creates chaos, and the beneficiaries of that, of course, are the little fellas skirting the pack. There's Eddie Betts in the action, taken by Dunn under pressure. Kicks a high ball outside the 50. Lucas has been very handy too. He's not as quick as some of his teammates, but he's very good with ball in hand. He's about 65 metres out. Might fix him like I fixed everybody else today. That's a terrible floater to 3 Melbourne players. Evans, I'm going to put this crystal ball away, Bruce. You finish it.
You've been in good touch, Den, don't you worry. Here's Robinson, and tried something specky. And I'm not sure if Mick will be happy with that late in the game.
I wonder about Mick. I wonder how Mick's going to read that kick from Chrissy Yaron across the ground too in the third quarter.
Who have you gone for, Tim? Your top 4?
Garland, I think, has been outstanding. Not in any particular order. Murphy's had a really good game. Scotland and Walker too, I think. And Jamison and also Henderson down back have been good.
That was the kick that found Simpson.
The kick that found Simpson. I just wonder whether Mick is going to pretend he didn't see it, or whether or not he broke any team rules when he kicked the ball in there.
Well,
I've never seen such a speculative kick in all my life.
I think it's result related, isn't it?
it must be.
Or Jeff, you might say, Yaron, you're the only one here that can actually attempt that one.
McKenzie to Jones. One of the good things about your top 4, Tim, it's both ends of the ground. It's a real mix of talent and players for Carlton. I'll be happy.
50 metres.
So
You're kicking 50 metres.
So obstructing a player.
Disposal, and then you threw him out.
So when the ball's gone forward, stopping someone being involved in the play, which not quite that one I would have thought because he was out of the play, but it's a 50-metre penalty and a chance to kick a second goal for Matt Jones, who brought up his first goal in AFL footy today. A good story guy, you know, 25 years of age, recruited at number 52 in the draft from South Croydon, went to Broadbeach a few years back, came back.
Only player in Melbourne's team today that's had 20 or more disposals too.
Well, that's a good performance. So 24 is his career high, and that was against West Coast, and that one coming back for a behind. So in the last minute of what's been I guess, a predictable match. I mean, if somebody said to you before the game that Carlton will win 17 goals straight, you'd sort of take that, wouldn't you, as a neutral?
Yep.
And that's a real difference there. There's 8 Carlton players that have had 20 or more disposals. There's 1 Melbourne player that's had more. They just don't get their hands on the ball often enough to generate enough.
This is Curnow. Got it from Murphy. Deep in his own defence. As a bounce. High ball headed for Hampson. Well, that's a good grab. I would have paid that. No, Spencer butters up on the ground, followed it through the pack. Taken by White, slips a hand pass away. Simpson. Oh, well, he didn't move, but somehow evaded about 2 tacklers. Kicks it down towards half forward, takes a high bounce. Frawley. Garland did well, got rid of Betts. Bought some time for Frawley. Goes looking for Evans. Offhands taken by Scotland. Robinson feeds a hand pass to Walker. Comes very wide to Keisha. Keisha kicks down inside the forward 50, and the mark is taken by Waite. So the youngster in his first game has 8 possessions, and on the lead there, Eddie Betts pushed in the back, no 50. Garland committed to the contest. So Keisha would certainly be doing Nathan Bassett proud, I would think, this afternoon. Loves to see his boys get a chance and come on in the big time, and he's been most impressive. Now, I would imagine, and this is probably being unkind to Melbourne, but they would fall somewhere in the nether regions between the SANFL and AFL. Oh, well.
You're on your own there.
Thanks for the backup.
We were nodding.
Well, that's good on telly. Here comes Betts. Oh. Betts has got onto it. Oh, the icing on the cake. He's got 4.
So the Blues over the D's by plenty. It was a 10-goal margin, 121 to 60.
We are the Navy Blues. We are the old dark Navy Blues. We're the team that never lets you down. We're the only team old Carlton knows.
Down to you, Lee. It was Cameron, it was a great way to finish.
Oh, what a way to finish. Did you enjoy that one?
I don't think I'll make the distance, to be honest. Had a shot down there from 50, drop punt. Yeah, I got touched on the line, so thought I might have a crack.
Come on, be honest. You just wanted to kick a barrel.
Yeah, I wanted to kick a barrel.
A really good win by the boys. A really professional effort. Melbourne in the second quarter threw a fair bit at you. You guys were able to weather that, just get through and get a good solid win.
Yeah, you know, we wanted to get a good win on the board. Last week, Adelaide come back at us in that last quarter. We wanted to play good 4-quarter footy, and I think we did that tonight.
Do you really feel that the team's now starting to work their way into the season, work better together and understanding exactly what Mick's after?
Yeah, I think so. And, you know, we've got big tests coming up. You know, we're playing Kilda on a Monday night, so hopefully we'll go well then too.
It certainly is a big month. All pretty winnable games. You can really set your season up over the next 4 games.
Yeah, you know, we're taking it a week at a time, but we'll see how we go.
The old cliche. Well done, Eddie. Great job, mate.
Well done, mate.
Good stuff, Lingy. So 8 goals between Garland and Betts today. Yaron we just saw there, so that's interesting. Down to you, Lingy, again.
Yeah, I've got Murph with me, the skipper. We were just talking with Eddie about a really professional, almost ruthless effort to make sure that he didn't even give Melbourne a sniff today.
Yeah, we probably in the first 5 rounds we've been a little bit disappointed in terms of playing all 4 quarters, and I thought today we didn't have too many lapses, which was good, so I've been focusing on that, and they kept on having a crack, which we knew they'd do. They've actually been playing some pretty good footy of late, so yeah, it was a good 4-quarter effort.
Great to have Jared Waite back, just provide that big target that you guys can go to when you get in trouble.
Yeah, it's pretty handy having Wadey come back in, and Shawnee Hampson took a few grubs today, which was good. So it's always good seeing some tall targets, and they always move well, and just present. That's all you can ask for.
And it just continues to be exciting. The 3 small forwards just buzzing around there. They just really light up the team.
Yeah, they're pretty excited, the 3 brothers. So yeah, if one of them can't get a kick, the other 2 normally go pretty well. But they keep on sharing it like they always do with each other, and Eddie to kick a barrel there at the end was pretty special. It was good.
And your own form, mate. You're able to kick a few goals, get plenty of the ball. It must have felt good to get a really good game under your belt.
Yeah, slowly getting there. Just been okay. So it's good to get a few touches, but yeah, more importantly, to get a win as well.
Well done, Murph. Great job.
hands up.